across the UK, on DAB+, on your smart speaker, on your smart TV, and on your side. This is Talk.
Welcome to Talk. This is where we absolutely speak common sense and reflect the views of people around the United Kingdom. The very thing that's killing children, his words, he's not banning. As long as you pay £12.50. Sick note Britain is thriving. These things can kill. You haven't got to be a dog expert to work that out. Every afternoon here on Talk, you don't want to be going anywhere else. It's as simple, straightforward as that. Politicians do not tell you the truth. I know that's not the most amazing thing to discover. We are promised the world from our political masters. They're going to solve the channel crossings. They're going to solve crime. They're going to solve the NHS. And guess what? They haven't solved any of it. It's your voice that really matters here. There's nowhere else that will give you the sounding board to the nation on the
OK, this is The Late Show with Andre Walker and Asher Gould and Alex Dykes, who we're going to introduce just in a couple of moments. But before we do that, I want to talk about something that's unrelated to tax, unrelated to second homes, unrelated to politics, unrelated to any of those things, poor conveyancing advice, trust fund rules, or any of those things that every other journalist, every other politician has talked about with regard to Angela Rayner. I want to ask you, what is the morality of a mother charging her son to live in his own home, who's 11 years old and disabled? Because let's recall the critical detail of what Angela Rayner's done. When her son, who was born prematurely, was given a payout in 2020, she immediately decided she was going to move out of the family home and divorce her husband. The money in the payout, we don't know how much the payout was, but has been put in trust. She has sold 25%, 1/4 of a house in Ashton-under-Lyne in Manchester for £162,000 to her 11-year-old son. Is the house really worth 600 grand? Well, I don't know. It would be more than that, wouldn't it? It'd be 650.
Ashton-under-Lyne for that.
But this is the key thing that I'm concerned about. She funded, at least in part, that property in Hove by forcing her 11-year-old son via his trust to buy her out of the house that he lives in. Also, as a mother, she turns around and says the following: I don't need my share in my house in Ashton-under-Lyne. I no longer ever visit it. That's where her 11-year-old son apparently must live. Because why on earth would he buy 25% of the house if he doesn't live in the house? So has she literally said that when her son got his settlement from the NHS, that was her opportunity to dump him as her child and move to Hove? Because I'm afraid if you look at the transaction, that is precisely what it looks like. First of all, she leaves the family home. Secondly, she says she never visits the family home. Thirdly, she sells him the family home. And fourthly, she gets a property in Hove. It sounds like what she's done is she has said to her son, through the trustees, I want a full and final settlement to end my relationship with my disabled child. That's what it sounds like to me. Now, you can phone up and you can say, that sounds awful, Andre. How dare you say this? You don't know this woman. You don't know the situation. But she's told you that the child lives in Ashton and she doesn't. The settlement comes through and she sells 1/4 of the property to him and she uses the money to buy a luxury flat. Hand in the till, City. I think it's completely morally bankrupt. And when people talk about Angela Rayner resigning, I will tell you, the way that she has ripped off her son, her disabled son's trust, is the reason why she should resign. I don't give a toss about stamp duty. I don't give a toss about her lying to Parliament. And I'll tell you the reason. Because how many of you have a mother who would prioritise a financial settlement for a holiday home over the care and attention of you or a disabled sibling? How many people are like that? Why on earth would you want somebody to be a senior government minister who feels like that? What's she going to do for you if her own son gets dumped? Who charges their child rent when they're 11 years old or asks them to buy the house they live in? Who does that? Nobody does it who is a reasonable and sensible person. Now, I don't know these people, but as far as I'm concerned, what I've told you is true on paper. And what I mean by that is, I don't know what the motivation for any of this is, but she sold her son's house to her son and bought a holiday home with the money. I don't know how much his payout was. I don't know how much the trust is worth, but I think that that is an absolute disgrace. Asher, your view?
Well, I think the motivation was 40 grand of our money, that she's a hypocrite, she'd slag anyone. Remember when Boris was just the wallpaper? And she already had the council house, didn't she? There was some kerfuffle about that. She got the discount and then pulled the drawbridge up for other people, which is what she's doing here. I mean, we can all see why she did it, because it saved her 40 grand. You know, I mean, it's and also it's in a trust. He's not 18, the kid, so she's in charge of it. You can't even use it for the stamp duty reasons. And she might say, oh, me advisors did it, but unless there's a reasonable excuse, and that's not a reasonable excuse, you are guilty of it.
But she also, the advisors that she's talking about were not legal advisors for the trust. They were conveyancing solicitors, right? Who literally just, I mean, it's...
Of course, you could ask a solicitor and say, is there going to be any trouble in doing it? And a good solicitor or anyone would know that, yeah, that could look a bit dodgy if you're doing that, especially as your deputy prime minister and housing minister.
I find the whole thing extraordinary, but I have to say I'm not that bothered about the stamp duty. She is presumably guilty of not properly paying what she should have paid, but to sell the family home to your disabled son's trust and then buy a holiday home with the proceeds is about as morally bankrupt as it gets. Anyway, we're in the studio with Alex Dyke, who's a broadcaster. Alex, look, that's my take on the whole thing. I mean, I can't understand why you would say, my disabled son lives in this house, I never go there, therefore he has to buy it and I'm getting a holiday home in Hove.
You remind me of a prosecuting solicitor, and if she was in the box and you told that story, the jury would be absolutely disgusted, and quite rightly so. What you've done, Andre, obviously, is you've followed the facts in a paper trail. Now, I don't think she has disowned this boy.
Right.
I think that what you've done is you've read the paperwork and think, well, hang on a minute, it's got to be this, unless you're lying.
I see.
And I think that's what you're getting to. This is one big fat lie.
Okay.
So, do you think she's going to resign tomorrow? Because apparently Keir Starmer wants this all cleared up by Friday.
So before we answer that question, so let's just think the Alex Dyke position through. So what you're saying is she now has to say, either I am a bad mother or I'm a liar.
Yes,
but it's got to be one of the two.
Yeah, because if as I say, if she was in the dock, you've cornered her now.
Yes.
So then she has to say, I lied on this form,
right.
I lied with this paperwork, or she has to say, I'm a bad mother. And what would you rather go down in history as? I'd rather go down as a liar than a bad parent.
Yes. Yeah, I mean, you could say I was ripping off the taxpayer to support my son, which I suppose.
But she needs to do anything to save her career, doesn't she? Or it's curtains for her political career.
But also, this is a flat that's worth £800,000. So this is even in Brighton. This has got to be a very, very nice apartment.
Oh, it is. It's Do you know when you go to Hove, you walk along the beachfront, so I don't know which of it is. And what they've got is, for those of you who are familiar with Brighton and Hove, you'll know it. There's those big white squares of sort of Georgian houses where one side is the beach and the other three sides are house.
Oh, the crescents.
The crescents, yeah. That's right. It's one of those.
Oh, well, they are beautiful.
They are nice.
Not anymore, because they've got a tax evader graffitied on the front of the white plaster now.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's a good point.
I think that was a mistake, but not least because she'll have to clean it off, but B, she'll probably demand additional security, so we'll end up paying for it.
Yeah.
But I think there's another bit of this, Alex and Asher. You know what? Labour are polling ahead in Brighton and Hove, whereas Labour are polling behind in Ashton-under-Lyne.
So normally the Greens in Brighton and Hove, it used to be.
So I just wonder whether she is planning to do the chicken run.
The chicken run. We can all see what she's doing.
Well, maybe. I just think that as Deputy Prime Minister, I was going to say you should have known better, but even if you don't know better, your people should have known better.
Of course they would.
But also, isn't it?
We know what happened.
Isn't this other thing? I forget if it was Asher or somebody else who made this point, but it was certainly somebody in this studio who said one of the things about her is they basically always just write it off and go, "Oh, don't worry, all working class people are thick." That's probably why she didn't know.
And she played that card, didn't she? And the disability card. She chucked all the cards.
I wanted to do it, Papa.
Well, and do you know what? That irritated me when I heard that news clip on Talk.
Yeah.
Not the voice, the fact that she said proper instead of properly.
Oh, no.
Right, and it's only a tiny little thing.
Annoying, yeah.
I think it's only a tiny bit. If you're Deputy Prime Minister, please speak King's English.
Yeah, OK, we've got the clip of her explaining what she did, Papa.
We'll do one. Let's do one.
Advice that I received was inaccurate because of the trust. I don't own the property, that is true. I only own one property that is mortgaged, like most people. But because of the nature of the trust that was set up by the court, that I would be liable to pay the additional stamp duty. As soon as I knew that that was the case, I have alerted and referred myself to the independent advisor on the ministerial code to ensure that they can look transparently at what's happened, and also contacted HMRC to say that there is additional tax owing on this and that I'm prepared to pay that and fully comply with the HMRC as well.
Well, I'll tell you what, as we're watching videos and listening to audio, why don't we go very quickly to what Liz Truss said earlier on Talk Today, because I think that might be interesting, because Liz Truss, remember, was always seen as the epitome of evil on these things. She became Prime Minister about 3 years ago, I think on Monday. Go for it.
It's looking very difficult for her. I mean, she's a first-class hypocrite.
Yeah.
She spent years and years attacking Tories over tax, over second homes. It's just the sheer hypocrisy of these people, you know. Ever since they've gone into government, it's been one scandal after another, you know, accepting freebies, you know, masses of private jets. They made out they were whiter than white, and they're not, and they're not even doing anything.
No.
I mean, some of this stuff might be more forgivable if they were actually improving the country, but the country is headed for ruin.
Yeah.
And meanwhile, they've got their hands in the till. You would have thought she'd be very, very careful when she did something like buy a second home.
You would think.
And you make sure you got the best people and you really checked it out.
Yeah.
She clearly didn't, and therefore the rules don't apply. Well, she should have resigned already.
Yeah.
She should have resigned already. I suspect this is going to drag on.
Do you think Starmer wants rid of her?
No.
Because basically it will come down. She's broken the the ministerial code, and then it's up to him. It should mean you go if you break the ministerial.
Well, personally, I'd throw the ministerial code in the bin if I'm being totally honest.
Because at the end of the day, it's up to the Prime Minister, and he won't weasel out of it.
But I think what he said was right when he stood up and said, "I'm proud to have a working class woman next to me." The reality is, she's just there. She's like John Prescott. She's there just. Oh, there we go. Then let's keep going.
Don't take our word for it. See for yourself.
She's gone over and above in setting out the details, including Mr. Speaker, yesterday afternoon, asking a court to lift a confidentiality order in relation to her own son. She has now referred herself to the independent advisor. That is the right thing to do. But I can be clear, I am very proud to sit alongside a Deputy Prime Minister who is building 1.5 million homes, who is bringing the biggest upgrade to workers' rights in a generation, and who's come from a working-class background to be Deputy Prime Minister.
Very proud of a working-class background.
Which is basically code for I am a complete fraud when it comes to being a working-class hero. I know nothing about ordinary working people. I care nothing for the issues ordinarily affecting Britain. And this moron next to me is there to make it look like I do. Alex?
I tell you, the most interesting thing out of those three clips, guys, was that if you're watching this, not listening on the radio, if you are listening on the radio, let's just say, in the first one, we saw Angela Rayner, and there was a very, very rare Union Jack in the background. Did you see that?
I did.
The Labour Party seemed to have found a Union flag.
Somewhere. Yeah, that's right. I forgot one of those.
Apparently Birmingham City Council have given up that because they're going up so quick. They haven't got the
yeah, that's right. There's a number of councils. There's a number of councils that want to take them down. Didn't, but I thought the most shameful one of them all. And I know we're darting off topic, but we'll get back on it after the break. But I thought the most dreadful one of them all was Essex County Council. Now, whatever you say, Essex is a great patriotic county. I've always loved Essex. I've always said that, and it's because they're entrepreneurial, they're hard working. working. Yeah, all right. Some people may mock their styling.
They can be a bit vulgar.
And they're very friendly.
Yeah.
The people
But
from Essex are very friendly.
But that county council, the Conservative leadership of it, banned the election because they knew they were going to lose to Reform, and now they're giving support to members of staff who are upset by seeing the flag around about in Essex. That is dreadful.
What?
That is dreadful. Yeah, so members of staff are getting counselling.
Traumatised by seeing the flag.
Do you think that we are now getting to a point where very, very small little villages, even where I live most of the time on the Isle of Wight, very small villages have got a red cross on a mini roundabout?
Yeah.
Do you think the government won't take any notice until there are red crosses over anything that's white and blocky?
I think that they won't take any notice at all. I think they're so away with the furries, they just don't get it. I mean, I don't think... I mean, if you look at Keir Starmer, when he said, what we need is to move our programme forward more quickly... So he's not Nelson Mandela.
Phase 2.
No, not Nelson. That sounds like Nelson Mandela. But actually, he didn't turn around and go, I think the main problem is everyone thinks I'm going to see you next Tuesday. I mean, that's a fact.
He knows that's true, though. That's why you never see him in public. Whenever he's in public, he's rushed by the police, have you noticed?
OK, we do have Deborah who wants to give her opinions on whether Angela Rayner should resign, but I really want to go to a break first because I think we will take your call. Actually, we don't normally take your calls to start with. Alex, are you up for taking calls?
I'm up for taking calls.
All right, 0344 499 1000 if you want to give your opinion on whether Angela Rayner should be sacked or should resign, or indeed what you think about what Alex and I were discussing earlier. Is she a bad mother or is she a liar? More next. Across the UK, on DAB+, on your smart speaker, on your smart TV, and on your side. This is Talk. Right, I'm contractually obliged because of the producer in charge of this show to talk about Ellie Goulding's views on immigration. Ellie Goulding apparently is a singer of some description, and she says that she's ashamed of Britain because of the fact that there's been protests against illegal migrants, and she says that she's never been accosted on the street by an illegal migrant. Instead, it's only drunk white people that ever accost her. I personally don't care what she thinks, Alex. What do you think?
Well, this is the danger, isn't it, when celebrities have opinions, and it's much better if that celebrity's lived a life.
Yeah.
If you're Ellie Goulding and you're looking down from your ivory tower, I don't suppose she takes the same kind of public transport that a lot of these people do, and you've only got to look at what's happened in Epping today with a 14-year-old girl as a victim of a sex crime. So,
oh, and of course, Alex, I just want to stop you there. Apologies for interrupting, but a 14-year-old girl who we now discover was the victim of a sex crime by somebody who'd been in the country for only a few days, who the day before had committed another sex crime on an adult female, and today was convicted of both.
Yeah, who was trying to help him, apparently. She was
she gave him some pizza, didn't she?
She was trying to help this gentleman. I think he'd been in the country only
from
8
Ethiopia,
weeks.
wasn't he? Yeah.
And of course, we don't know. The court said, we hardly know anything about this guy. Well, of course you didn't. He's only been in the country 5 minutes.
They don't check him, do they?
No. What? You got nothing to check him with,
I know something about him. What he will do... Sorry, I just waved to somebody in the gallery and we're on camera. So that's quite funny. OK, I will tell you one thing about him. What he will do when he's released from prison, he will say, in my own country, I will be killed for being a convicted child molester in the UK, and that will become his reason for being allowed to stay in the United Kingdom. Because he'll say...
Oh, you say you're gay or...
I'm in danger in my own country, ergo, you have to let me stay now. He will sue under the European Convention on Human Rights to be allowed to stay after his...
I think the thing with the Ellie Goulding thing, which Ellie Goulding...
don't worry, if you don't know her name, neither do I.
So she broke for around 30 years ago. So her time has come and gone, Ellie.
I think the situation is, and we talk a lot about this on Talk, we get sometimes lost in the politics. And this isn't a question of left, centre or right. I would say to anyone who disagrees with what you guys say on this channel, forget the politics, just look at the common sense. That if you just relentlessly open our borders to anyone, and it's all young men of a fighting age coming, where are the women?
And they've thrown their passports away.
But also the other thing about Ellie Goulding is it's the classic thing, and God bless them, we do get it on this show a lot when we talk about the NHS, anecdotal evidence. The NHS must be brilliant because my sister went and got cancer treatment last week and it was great. Right. The problem is individual experiences do not prove things necessarily. When they go, this is my truth. Yeah, but your truth may not be the truth simply because, I mean, I made this point, by the way, about Tommy Robinson before today, right? Let's just remember one thing. Yes, he has all these experiences that he's very upset about, but in Luton, but it's also the community in Britain that's had more Islamic immigration than anywhere else in the country. So his experience might be true, and it also might have no relevance. Do you see what I mean?
He says it's coming to other places.
Exactly right. Similarly, Ellie Goulding turns around and goes, well, I've never been assaulted by an illegal migrant. Well, neither have I, but it doesn't mean that grooming gangs don't exist.
Absolutely,
right? It's just
absolutely.
garbage,
and of course, what happens then is the oxygen of publicity that she gets is kind of veering you away from the truth, which is what a lot of what the left-wing media.
Yes. Yeah. So are we saying to Miss or Mrs. Goulding, presumably Ms. Goulding, is she then saying, I personally... So there is a problem with drunkenness in town centres on a Friday and Saturday nights. Yes. There is also a problem with drunk people sexually assaulting people. Yes, we know that as well. And let's be honest with you, most drunk people are probably not radical Muslims. I'd accept that as well. However, that doesn't mean that grooming gangs don't exist. Is her contention that because she's never personally been targeted by a grooming gang, ergo they don't exist?
Yeah, but she'd just say with grooming, well, there's white grooming gangs as well. They refuse to understand, statistics. Do you know what I mean? They willfully misunderstand things unless they are that stupid.
Do you know, you've reminded me, when I used to do phone-ins back in the day, we might talk about hoodies. Do you remember Hug a Hoodie?
Hug a Hoodie,
right?
Yeah.
We might talk about football hooligans. We don't talk about those hooligans now, or the hoodies or whatever, because we are so busy trying to get Britain back to where it was. We can't even deal with the people that were on benefit frauds who are smashing up.
There is always one of them, isn't there? So I think when I was a kid, it was Dangerous Dogs. Then it moved into. Do you remember Video Nasties?
Yeah,
I've done
them all. I've done them all.
So
You've done them all.
It was Video Nasties. Then it was Dangerous Dogs. I think it was then Road Rage. Right, Road Rage. Remember? Kenneth Noy.
And it comes in soap operas, doesn't it? It appears in soap operas for about a year.
But we can't even get to the issues that are troubling British, that the British people who have historically have been here for 2 or 3 generations, we can't even deal with those problems because we are putting out so many fires, and the immigration one is the biggest fire.
I've started saying recently, and some people have pushed back against it, I think we need to start talking about multiculturalism in Britain in the past. This idea that there was a huge amount of multiculturalism. No, there was Christians and a few Jews, and there weren't very many.
It was about 99%, wasn't it?
Exactly.
Yeah,
and what you're talking about is you're talking about a small number of Jews living in a very geographically defined area in a few cities. The suggestion that Britain. The reason I make this point is people go, it proves that Britain is a multicultural society, or can be, because of the number of ethnic minorities in 1800. Yeah, there was 99 Christians and 1 Jewish bloke,
and a couple of Huguenots.
And even he was called Martin Jones, right? You know what I mean? I mean the number of people who stuck out as being obviously non-British or non-white or non-Christian was tiny in those days.
We've had more immigration in 20 years than we have in the last 2,000 years.
Do you know who I'd like to see on your show, guys, as a guest?
Owen Jones. Oh, he won't come because you're not gay, right? You're not gay. You don't understand, you're not gay.
I would like you to get an expert who can tell us about cultures and people being tribal, because the one thing that the government, well, it's not the one thing, it's the many things that the Tories and Labour have never told us. They've never talked about us as human beings being tribal and being protected.
Yeah. Dave Starsky, Professor Dave, has been on and talked about
Dave,
that very
I tell you what, Dave Starkey told me off, right? So I said on my YouTube channel, which, by the way, people say this is my left-wing show. The YouTube channel is rabid. Andre J.P. Walker, check it out if you dare. But what David Starkey said, I said that everything that happens in America we copy, right?
Yeah.
So, you know, the whole Black Lives Matter thing was from America. The whole, pretend on gun crime was from America. But I said, one of the things that we've pretended, because in America it's true, is that Britain was built on immigration. And Starkey said, yeah, but America wasn't built on immigration. What? He said it was built by English colonists, and then after it was built, lots of immigrants came in. And I thought, that's a reasonable point, actually.
That's often how it happens. Some people come in and fix it up, and then other people want to move them.
Every critical basic of the United States of America was built by English colonists.
Yeah. But as people, we know that the upper classes hang out with the upper classes, the middle class do the same, and so do what was traditionally the working class, right? So we know that we are tribal amongst ourselves.
Yes, we
like to be with people who are like us because they make us feel comfortable and we don't feel threatened. Right, so this is not a race thing.
But if you go to university, here is the point that I think is interesting. If you go to university, so you think to yourself, what I'm going to do at university is broaden my horizons. And then there's the Japanese society, the Chinese society, the Islamic society, and whatever. And people just go, oh, actually, ironically, because I'm away from home, I'm more inclined to hang around with my own kind. I'm not less inclined. I mean, it's not true that students come over from Japan and suddenly start mixing with everyone. They go to Japanese society events. Anyway, look, Alex, you are a fascinating man, but we did promise we'd go to the calls. So let's go to Deborah in Oldham, and this is a call by Angela Rayner. I'm sorry, Deborah, that we've taken a while.
It's not about Angela Rayner.
Oh.
You changed your mind?
No, it's not. I've told them. It's about my daughter.
You never wanted to talk about it in the first place.
Oh, sorry.
No, that's all right. What do you want to talk about? Whatever you want to talk about, Deborah.
Within reason.
Within reason, of course.
Okay. Right, my daughter, right, she was like 25 years old and she's got a heart problem.
Right.
So we dropped her off at the shop on Mother's Day to get a card round the corner.
Yep.
And she come back and these Albanians got out of the car and spit all over her back.
Why? Do we know?
Because they was going, ooh, you know?
So wolf whistling and what, you told them to go away or something?
No, Deborah, can I stop you there? Look, I'm sorry, you're wrong about this. Jess Phillips has told you it's got nothing to do with him being an Albanian Muslim. It's misogyny. It's misogyny. It's just like no, it is. It's misogyny. Jess Phillips has told you. Why do you believe it's got anything to do with him coming from a backward shithole?
Right. Listen, my daughter's not white. Right, and you know when
sorry, they hate that. They're furious.
Blonde hair.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, blonde hair people can be targeted.
Yes.
Well, my daughter is half caste, and she took
mixed race.
two fingers up, right, and 3 of them got out of the car, and they spat all over her.
But did she tell them? Were they already whistling at her, and she told them to, sling their hook, and then they spat at her? So what did she call the police and that? Did anything happen about it?
Just come round the corner because I was parked round the corner.
Yeah.
And she went in the shop to get a Mother's Day card, and coming back, and she was in tears.
Well, I'm not surprised.
I'll tell you what somebody said to me the other day, and I think it's a reasonable point. They go, right, all of these places that people come from, migrants and whatever, how many of you would go on holiday in Somalia? How many of you would go on holiday to Libya? And look, at the end of the day, the reason I wouldn't go on the holiday to Somalia has got nothing to do with the buildings in Somalia. It's got something to do with the fact that I consider it to be dangerous. Why is it dangerous? Because it's full of dangerous people. And therefore, what you're saying is, you're saying, I would never, under any circumstances, go on holiday to Syria because I think it's the people over there are dangerous, so let's move them to Birmingham. I mean, that's garbage.
Well, they've got Gaza. I mean, they're talking about, Gaza kids coming over for operations. Well, of course, when they come, they will claim asylum. They'll get asylum because, they're from Gaza, and then they'll bring extended family in. And, that's
do you know,
not going to end well.
when I park my car tonight, I always park my car in the same place, and then it's about a 5-minute walk here.
Where is it precisely, and what make and model of car? Because then someone can nick it.
Yeah.
Because they know you're here.
Yeah. And I walked down the road tonight, and there were 3 young guys coming towards me. They weren't white, but that doesn't matter. They had masks on.
That's always dodgy, isn't it?
Yeah, 3 of them walking towards me, and for the first time ever, I decided I would cross the road. And then I thought, I've been coming here now for nearly a year, and I've never ever seen a bobby on the beat on that very, very busy London street. And that shocked me.
Much, yeah. You're seeing it a bit more for the last couple of months, but for years there's not been. You don't really see police cars around much anymore.
The big problem you've got with policing now is policing is over. What happens now is, unless you go
for the criminals,
unless you go to a big event, what happens
or you tweet something.
They tend to retrospectively investigate some, but not many, of the crimes that get reported. So there's no visible presence unless you go to something like a football match or whatever. So nothing's being policed; it's being retrospectively investigated.
I heard someone say on Alex's show when I was driving up tonight, we don't have a police force anymore; we have a police service, and I think that's a very good way of. Putting it.
Yes, yeah.
They call it intelligence-led, don't they? So they wait for the crimes to happen rather than preempting them.
Well, it was like with. There was once a rapist in Tooting, and the police said that they didn't want to make a public appeal about it. Instead, they had undercover officers watching the streets where they believed he operated. And as my friend points out, but that means that you're using unsuspecting women as bait in order to catch him. Yeah. Now, okay, that may be the only way you can do it, but nonetheless, these women walking around Tooting now on these streets, you believe that one of them is going to be attacked, and you're just waiting around to see which one gets attacked first. Don't tell them. I mean, that's awful.
That's very dangerous.
Do you think that the reason that the police officers in Britain are going out and they are looking for people who've written something spiteful on Facebook is because it's an easier thing to do than actually go out there?
They're scared.
And because if my sons were police officers, at least I'd think, well, if they're going to go around and see some 44-year-old housewife,
go and arrest Graham Linehan rather than
I'd rather that than them being out on the streets.
I'll tell you the other thing about police that I've been told, and I cannot prove this, but if it was me, I think if it was you too as well, we'd do this. So basically, you get called to a knife crime incident amongst a group of black youths. You know full well that they'll all have their phones out and they'll be filming you, and then they will edit it and stick it on social media claiming that you're racist and whatever. You know that your own leadership will not back you up, that you'll be castigated by Sadiq Khan or Andy Burnham or whoever it is who's in charge of policing in your area. I've been told they get it over the radio, and they don't. refuse to go, but they don't bust a gut to make it there quickly either, because they go, I'd rather not be the first unit on the scene.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's go to Roy in Hampshire. Roy, you're on Talk.
Good evening, lads.
Evening.
Evening.
What's up, man?
What I was going to say, if Angela Rayner loses her job and she's got to go to the back benches, would she still be able to afford the mortgage?
Well, I thought that today, yeah, because she won't be on the ministerial salary, but I'm sure she's already got that in cash. There's probably no mortgage. I mean, you know,
Well,
they have other sources, don't
What
they?
she could do, you'll hate me for saying this, she could rent it out to pay the mortgage and then get an identical property on the taxpayer through the Independent Parliamentary Standards Authority, which is called the Fees Office. She'd be able to claim up to $20,000 a year for rent or mortgage.
There you go, Angela.
Sorry, for rent, not for mortgage.
There you go. Oh,
That's
she
what
only likes buying, though.
Yeah. So what?
She wants a property
So what she
empire.
would do is she would rent it out for the full value of the mortgage, and then she would get a property in London on the taxpayer.
And rent it to, like, her auntie or something.
Yeah.
And deny,
Well, there was two.
denies that she knew it was her auntie.
There were two MPs who, when this system came in, they rented their flats to each other. So one MP
Was that in Parliament?
Yeah.
I think I remember. I actually gave him a lift there once.
Roy, yes, she will, no doubt. I mean, she can also get outside earnings as well, but I suspect she's not going to be employed doing much.
She might become a DJ.
Yeah,
all right,
wicked
DJ.
man, wicked
On the
man.
ones and
All right,
twos.
Roy, thank you so much. Are we going to go to the break, Asher?
Yeah, I think we should. Let's all get together. We'll gather back together in 2 minutes, yes.
Across the UK, on DAB+, on your smart speaker, on your smart TV, and on your side. This is Talk.
This is the Late Show with Andre Walker, Asher Gould and Alex Dyke. Let's go straight to the calls then. Georgina is in London. Georgina, you're on Talk.
Hello, lovely to speak to you. I wanted to talk to you, if it would be possible, about the Labour Party and the part they're playing with the Fabian Society. Would
Yes,
I be
go
able
for
to
it.
do that?
Yeah.
Okay. I think that this is about power over the population and not wanting us to question governmental authority. When you look at the way in which this government performs, the Fabian ideology is there hiding in plain sight. And it's been prevalent in many previous Labour governments. It's nothing new.
They don't even hide it, do they? And it's been running since, I think, 1884, which is why Orwell called it 1984, because they have a 100-year sort of plan, and it is coming to fruition.
Is that right?
Yeah.
It was called 1984.
Well, it formed in 1884, and Orwell called it 1984. And basically, they've infiltrated everything. I mean, we saw this court case the other day. I know a complaint's gone in from...
the judiciary are also complicit with the...
Well, we saw he was in the Fabian Society, one of the 3 judges the other day who overturned a good decision from the High Court judge against the people. Our own government fighting our people.
It's fabulous that I can actually chat to you about this, because this has been really grinding my gears. I mean, we all know that this is a communist organisation, with democracy and liberty for the masses being the last thing on the Fabian agenda.
And isn't it a wolf in sheep's clothing, their symbol? They don't even hide the fact they want to break down society, and they've got it now, basically. The only way...
This is what I was going to say to you, Ash. You know, this is about total control over your movements, your finances, and your life.
They want everything to own nothing. And the WAF followed on from this as well.
They want you to own nothing and be happy. This is about total control. There's a fine line between socialism and communism, and this government has crossed that line. We've had our liberty, democracy, and freedom of speech taken away from us. We can be stopped in the streets and questioned by police for no reason and be arrested if we fail to answer questions or we give answers that are not liked. You know, in essence, we're already living in a peace.
We are. I mean, Tony Blair sort of set it up, and then the Tories just carried on with it. They all carried on with the Uniparty. What do you think, Alex?
Well, I get what this lady's saying. Georgina. Hi, Georgina. I get what you're saying, and I understand the basics of being a communist, but I don't understand putting all of us, including yourself, at risk with mass immigration. You know,
well, it breaks the system, doesn't it? They're destroying the country, which is what they want to do. The identity, the history.
What cost, Georgina? What cost?
Right. I'll tell you what cost. You've got to look. I've already said that our liberty and democracy, freedom of speech has been taken away, and now they're trying to introduce digital ID, which is a digital spy meeting every aspect of your life. And I can guarantee that digital currency will not be far behind. This is why we're witnessing cultural, societal, and economic destabilisation within our country.
Look, let's be clear. So I'm convinced, and I'm sorry to say this, I'm convinced that there will be a mass terror attack. I believe that they've already got the boots on the ground for the terrorists to do it, and I believe that what will happen is there will be a coordinated, probably lone wolf attack where, say, 500 people from Hamas or Hezbollah or one of the other Iranian special forces services from around the world will go on the attack. And I think that will be a prelude to Keir Starmer, who clearly is not involved, but will benefit from it. He will say, this is our opportunity to clamp down on free speech, on freedom of expression, and also on your right.
We've already seen the police have upped it a gear, haven't they, in the last week? They've obviously had word from the authorities to do that.
By the way, can I say to all of you, if you think that what is going on in Britain is dangerous, you've got no idea. Graham Linehan is an Irish citizen tweeting in the United States of America, right? So first of all, the offence did not take place in Britain, the alleged offence. Secondly, he's not a British national. Under the rule, apparently, if you can arrest Graham Linehan under Section 3A of the Public Order Act, you can arrest Donald Trump, you can arrest anybody from any country whatsoever. It's extraterritorial powers, exactly the same as the Online Safety Bill. If you allow somebody to tweet something that the British government, the British police don't like, then you can have your company taken off you in the United States of America. It's colonialism.
I fear you're right with your potential terrorist attack. I think that could be on the cards. That's my biggest worry. And by the way, for anyone who might care, and I'm sure most of you don't, I've been around for 63 years now, and I've never been so worried about Britain as a country. This, to me, is worse than being a kid and walking around London with my parents on days out and getting all those bomb threats from the IRA.
Oh, yes.
And that was bad.
This is an existential threat to the country.
But this is massive.
You have to. I had a friend of mine who was in the parachute regiment, and McGuinness walked past him, and he said, "What you have to understand, son, is I've got no problem with you. It's that badge on your head and being in my country that I've got a problem with. You have to understand something." Martin McGuinness and all the IRA wanted Northern Ireland to be part of the Republic of Ireland. That ceased their dispute with the United Kingdom. 7th century Islamic fascists want to hang anyone who disagrees with them.
Well, I think you're right, but Keir Starmer, what I don't agree with you is Keir Starmer would not survive it. If there is a mass terrorist attack, God forbid, he will get the blame for letting people in, even though it started really under the Tories' watch.
Well, he's made it worse. Anyway, we've got a little break here, haven't we? So 03444991000. Thanks to Georgina. We've got loads more in a couple of minutes.
Across the UK, on DAB+, on your smart speaker, on your smart TV, and on your side. This is Talk.
Well, we've been talking about uncontrolled immigration, and as you know, I genuinely believe that it is uncontrolled immigration, the cost of living crisis, the ludicrous printing of money and the resultant inflation, which is causing so few people to have children. And then, of course, they go, well, we need immigration to bring in all the people. Yes, but we're having to pay for all of them, which is why we're not having kids.
And they have loads of children.
The average woman now in the UK has 1.41 children. Just to make that really simple, 2 parents, mum and dad, and collectively, on average, they have 1.4 children. That means basically a birth rate collapse. And any view that we talk about this great replacement theory, and people say it's a conspiracy theory, there is no doubt if the birth rate remains at this level, then this will cease to be the country that you think of it being. I mean, I know in places like Birmingham and London it already isn't, but it will completely collapse as a country and become, well, I suppose, the
Balkans.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, effectively a country.
Or Lebanon.
Yeah, so it'd be similar to that. Okay, one man is attempting to fight back in both this country and the United States of America. His name's Malcolm Collins. He calls himself a pro-natalist campaigner. Well, I suppose the first thing, even though it's reasonably obvious, Malcolm, from the title, what is a pro-natalist campaigner?
We're just trying to get people to understand how severe this issue is. And, it's a very interesting area to be campaigning in, because if we're on the Titanic right now, we're not coming at this saying this is how you avoid the iceberg. We are hitting the iceberg. Like, there's no way to fix this in time at this point. We're just trying to get the captains to realize that this boat can actually sink. And when I say this boat, I'm not just talking about the UK. I'm talking about, like, the global geopolitical and economic system. I mean, this is a bigger problem in places like East Asia than it is in places like the UK and the US.
Yeah, but I mean, the thing is, the future is AI, the future's robots. We've just got to stop immigration. We don't need kids anymore. We've got robots to do all the stuff.
Potentially, but what AI seems to be doing is concentrating wealth, rather than acting as an infinite money generator. And it doesn't just concentrate wealth, but it makes it significantly more mobile. So suppose I create an AI that can replace 50% of the legal work in the UK, right? Like me and a team of like 20 people. Well, now when the government is dealing with way more people on Social Security, and you begin to get a dependency ratio cascade because it can't afford that, it goes, oh, how do I fix this? Well, what I do is I go out there and I tax the productive citizens more. And what are those?
That's what's happening here, basically, already.
So let me ask you this. I see that you've got a Roman helmet behind you. We've seen this example before, haven't we? Because my understanding is that the people of Romania, who are the people of Romania, or Romania as it would otherwise have been known, are the people of Rome who escaped Rome when it was overtaken by immigration. Yeah. And so the reality is, the average person in Rome today is not actually a Roman that we would think of historically. And so what happened, and I'm sad to say this, but the great things like the Colosseum were ripped down. A lot of Roman culture was destroyed simply because when Rome got rich, lots of migrants turned up and trashed the place.
Isn't that an inevitable cycle of civilizations? Nothing lasts forever. It goes
Civilizations do tend to collapse, and we're hitting the end of that particular cycle. But I think that you're really on point there, maybe more than you even realize. You know, obviously in the UK, something that's a big issue right now is people being criminalized for flying your own country's flag.
Yes.
Like, what type of government would criminalize flying their own flag? Only one type of government does that. A country that's under occupation.
Yeah, an authority. Yeah, well, we are being occupied.
France, you couldn't fly the French flag. No country would ever not want you flying that flag unless that was not who was in control anymore.
The state is the enemy of the people. I mean, are you rich, though? Because that's the main reason why people aren't having kids. They can't afford it.
No, I'm not particularly wealthy.
I mean, those Roman helmets, they don't come cheap.
Well, I mean, I think that people will say, oh, people aren't having kids because they don't have enough money. But if I look at the statistics in the United States, or I look at the statistics in the UK, the less money you have, the more kids you have. Yeah. Until you get to like over like
in
$1 million a year.
Yeah, overflowing with kids. Yeah.
So, I mean, I think what's really cool about this moment in history is it's going to change who runs the world. Yes. People will say to me, are you afraid of that group or that group, this high population? And I'm like, if they're high population because they're poor or because they're technologically unproductive, which many groups are, they aren't relevant in terms of the future of geopolitics. Consider something like, let's talk about, to like de-racialize the issue, let's look at the Asia-Pacific area, right? Like, who's going to be the future of that area, right? Like Korea, one of the economic powerhouses, terrible fertility rate. Taiwan, terrible fertility rate. China, Japan, what countries have a decent fertility rate and are technologically productive in the region? Australia and New Zealand. If I look globally, which powers are going to outpace in the future, we're looking at countries like the United States and Israel. This is going to flip. One of my friends, European guy, he's like, oh, the US is burning all of its relationships with European powers. Like, this guy was actually an Italian. He's like, you know, what don't you care that Trump is doing that? And I'm like, your country, Italy, at your current fertility rate, which is 1.18, for every 100 Italians, there's only going to be 20 great-grandchildren. Okay, and this is assuming it doesn't continue to fall, which it has almost every year for like however many years into the past. That means they only have a few decades before things like their social security.
Is there a natural process of self-aborting societies? I mean, are we in a process of saying this is the end of the British people? It's now time to hand over to. I mean, I disparagingly call them Pakistani imperialists, but is it time for Pakistan to rule the United Kingdom?
Well, I mean, if the future belongs to any population that can be high fertility while staying technologically and economically productive. If a country, like let's say Germany or something, ends up replacing its population with a population that is not technologically and economically productive, the existing population may not exist or have power in the future. But
back to the example of the Romans. What happened with the Romans is that they imported people to live off the wealth of Rome, and they lived off it until Rome fell to bits. I mean, my feeling in the United Kingdom is we are in an experiment in the United Kingdom. Can you bring the most backward, the least economically capable, the worst educated, the poorest in terms of culture? Can you bring the worst, stupidest people of the world to the United Kingdom, put them on benefits, and can the country be a success afterwards? I don't believe it will be. I believe what they'll do is they'll just eat up all the wealth over the years. years and then just live in filth when they've spent it all.
Yeah, I mean, the only realistic solution going forwards is to stop thinking in terms of saving countries. Like, if you're in the UK, you know there's no real way you can save your country at this point. If you want to save British culture, that is done at the family and community level. That means you need to build a community and culture that can motivate high fertility rates intergenerationally. The good thing is that this is a very tractable issue. You know, if you can create a cultural system within the UK where you can motivate having 8 kids, and you do that intergenerationally, in just 11 generations, you have more descendants than there are people on Earth.
So should we criminalize abortion?
That doesn't seem to help with fertility rates. Actually, if you look at contraceptive bans across Europe and you look at a map of contraception bans or abortion restrictions and you look at a map of fertility rates, you will see the countries that are more restrictive on this typically have lower fertility rates. This is why in Europe you have the really odd case of the poorer countries, which typically are higher fertility, i.e. the Catholic countries, being much lower fertility than the Northern European countries.
But I mean, you say technologically countries like the Western ones are advanced, but we've seen in China, we've seen India, they're becoming more advanced than us, you know. In some ways, the stuff they're inventing in China, they're taking our technology and running with it, aren't they? So it is flipping around.
The technology they steal.
Well, yeah. And then improve.
I mean, they've stolen a bunch of our technology, but they've set up a house of cards in regards to their real estate system, which 73% of private wealth is within. It is almost definitely going to crash within our lifetimes. China doesn't have a future. You know, if you have a fertility rate that's around 1 or below 1, you're halving your population every generation.
You're having 13 kids, right? How many have you got already so far?
My wife's pregnant was number 5, and our oldest is 5.
So you're doing all right, yeah.
Well, I'm going to say this to you, Malcolm. Unfortunately, we have run out of time, but you are one of the more interesting people I've ever met on this show. We would love to have a longer conversation with you next time.
Love to come back on, and anyone who wants to check out our stuff can check out our YouTube on Basecamp, and it was great talking with you guys, and I do hope that there is a future for Britain. It's you guys are playing on hard mode right now.
I know, man.
No, we're not playing on hard mode. Right, we need to get harder. Right, let's just be clear on that. That is
speak for yourself.
That is Malcolm Collins, who is a pro-natalist campaigner. What do you think, Alex?
He looked like Joe 90.
I think
he didn't. He looked like Alan Carr shifted the weight.
I think he's a very, very intelligent, switched-on guy. That's what I think, and I'd like to hear more from him. You're absolutely right.
It's funny, isn't it? Elon Musk, who's all about making robots and stuff. He also agrees with having loads.
It's interesting.
And Boris, of course.
Boris, yeah.
It's interesting. It's interesting, isn't it? You sat there thinking, well, what we have to do now is look at this on a community level, like he's saying, where it's, you know what? If you come from, well, my community, Asher's community, which are different ones, but those are communities that valued having a family and having children, and therefore had a fairly high birth rate.
In fact, it was either the working classes who had lots of kids, or the posh, the upper classes. The middle classes have never really done their bit.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. They're too busy watching the telly. So you're off back to Southampton tonight.
I'm going to Southampton, Isle of Wight tomorrow. It's lovely to see you. Thank you for having me.
I hope your car's still down there, by the way.
Yeah, it was the blue Ford Sierra on Tooley Street. I'm joking.
Just got no wheels anymore.
Okay, you can call us on 0344 499 1000. We've got the press preview coming up with Pete Barnes, and we're going to hope that Alex's car is still where it was when he left it. My YouTube, if you want to follow it, is Andre JP Walker. Asher's, what I've written this for you, haven't I? Is Virtual Ash.
At Andre JP Walker, Twitter at Virtual Ash. We'll be back in a couple of minutes with a paper review. And Pete, stay here.
across the UK. On DAB+, on your smart speaker, on your smart TV, and on your side. This is Talk.
Yes, it's the press preview with Andre Walker, Asher Gould and Pete Barnes. And I guess what we'll do before we properly get Pete on, why don't we have a look at the first paper?
Let's start with the Soaraway Sun. There it is. See for yourself. And Rayner facing the rap. D-Day for Angela over tax. A spoof AI vid goes viral, rapping and that. Angela
Can we get that video?
It was very funny, wasn't it? Angela Rayner's bid to cling to her job in an unpaid tax row was dealt a hammer blow last night by her own solicitors. A deputy PM who could face a verdict from the office watchdog today had tried to blame bad legal advice for failing to pay 40 grand of stamp duty. Yeah. Tell it to the judge.
Bad legal advice from a conveyancing solicitor about trust tax law.
And we'll talk about that in a minute. We've got Pete here, but also the fair princess. There's Princess Kate with her new hair. I like it.
Do you know what I tried to do? To look at the hair. I'm not joking.
The hair.
I tried to put the paper down and do that with my fingers to make the picture bigger, like on the phone.
But she's had your colour. Do you think she watches the show and thought, I'm going to get that?
Damn right she watches the show. She loves it.
And she's had my style and your colour, basically.
She loves
so she's got a bit of the best of both worlds.
Look at that. She's
got my hair.
Are you saying that she's got an Asher Gould?
Yeah, she's got the Asher Gould cut and the Andre Walker colouring.
Oh, dear.
But Pete, anyway, let's go back to Rayner facing the rap. What do you think about it? She's got to go, hasn't she? It's not tenable. It's ridiculous. Hypocrite.
First of all, hi, gents. I would say...
Sorry, man.
The one thing this story really tells you is just how weak Keir Starmer is. If this was any other politician... any other Prime Minister, the Deputy PM would have been bounced out of office quicker than you can say the word resignation.
There's already loads that should be going and stuff he's lost already. It's really bad.
It's realistically because Angela Rayner has a huge amount of parliamentary support, party support, but most of the backbenchers, she's basically seen as the heir apparent, but also she has a significant amount of trade union support. She was basically the person in the Labour government, and they will do a lot to keep her in power and in place because, you know, they've invested a rather lot of money into her, and they want to see some return on it, I imagine. But realistically, looking at it, it stinks to high heaven. And, you know, it's gone to Sir Laurie Magnus, the ethics advisor, and I'm just like, why? Because even I could tell you that this just does not pass the sniff test in any way. I mean, like, she's done the classic mea culpa, you know, admit to everything, and then when the ethics report is released, it's already out there in the media. Yeah, it's old news. It's nothing new. It's a great trick. However, everybody's a little bit switched onto it now. But yeah,
she's broken the ministerial code, though, hasn't she?
That's so this is the interesting one. If she's broken the code, she should be fired.
But it's up to Starmer, and he's weak.
Well, let's remember that under when he was opposition, leader of the opposition, he was saying that breaking of the ministerial code should be a fireable offence, no matter what. He pushed that very hard when it was bad behaving Tories.
Yeah, but he also said if you delete a tweet after you've written a bad tweet, you shouldn't be facing prosecution years ago. He just lies.
Yes, exactly. But this is going to add more pressure onto the kind of hypocrisy because he can't fire. He physically
and the Chancellor stuff as well. The Chancellor, we've got that.
And Rachel Reeves must be popping champagne corks like nobody else. Why nobody's covering this aspect of it, I don't understand. Because it's very well known that there is no love lost between these two women. They don't like each other. Apparently, she is the reason that Reeves was crying in the chamber, and when it cost us about £30 billion. But yeah, it is interesting, the kind of the dynamics of the internal bits of the Labour Party, because obviously we always know that the Tories like a good spat and they like to stab each other in the back. But the Labour Party, my lord, they will go for each other and they will not apologise. They're just as bad, and I actually think they might actually be worse.
Because it's harder to get rid of them. The Tories are always getting rid of them,
but that's because the Tory Party, the structure of it is it's designed for government.
And the unions control Labour, especially was it since Miliband? Didn't he change?
Oh
the rules?
yeah, that's when he stabbed his brother in the back to get the I mean,
he didn't stab him in the back though, did he?
Well, he stabbed him in the front. It was the front, back, side, and every other angle.
In the backside. What about we're talking about
in the backside?
The Fabian Society. What's your views on that?
It's the same as any other private members group having influence in politics. If you want to get angry at them, there's lots of other groups we can have a go at.
They've taken control. I mean, even that judge the other day.
No, here's the bigger question, Asher. I worry about this. I remember Margaret Thatcher saying of Neil Kinnock, she said, lots of people had respect for Neil Kinnock, but I never did, because his job was fundamentally disreputable. His job was to pretend the Labour Party was something they weren't in order to get into power. What frustrates me about the Labour Party is that what they want to do to this country, they cannot publicly admit to. So what they have to do is lie to the public, and then they can't come in and say, we support uncontrolled immigration, we believe that white people are fundamentally evil, we believe that Christianity should be smashed, we'd like to abolish the monarchy, we'd like to denigrate the military, we see the rights of Afghans as more significant than the rights of people in our own country. They can't put that in the manifesto.
Don't they lie to themselves with their ideology going, I'm doing the right... Do they actually believe it themselves and they're lying?
I think what they see is they see a global community, and they basically say there's no such thing as evil, and there's no such thing as bad culture. All there is people in a difficult situation.
But they know that's not true, but they're lying to themselves, so it's all built on lies.
They believe if you remove Afghans to Britain, then those Afghans will become very British, but by whatever definition of Britain is, and there will not be the violence and stupidity and ignorance of Afghanistan in London.
Not if you bring them in mass numbers.
Andre's perfectly right here. It's this idea of the universality of the human race. In other words, there's no difference between someone here and someone in Afghanistan. It is preposterous. It is denial of history. It's denial of culture, of just common sense more than anything. But, you know, it's the Labour Party. But we are starting to see this as the real divide in our politics. It's the new two-party politics, two issues, really, because it is the nation-state, or this more globalist agenda, as it's being called.
They're the enemy of the people, the state, though. If they want the world, if they're for the world, they're the enemy of the people.
Gordon Brown, Keir Starmer, not Gordon Brown, Keir Starmer believes genuinely, and he gave this example, yes, the loss of the Chagos Islands is a significant blow to the West, but actually it makes the world a safer place, because now China knows that the international courts are serious. It will adhere to the international courts. That is Keir Starmer's.
He's Prime Minister of Britain. He's not Prime Minister of the world. He should be our interests.
But it's a fundamentally important point. Keir Starmer believes that there will be a global rollout of all of these rules, that China will suddenly go, well, let's not ignore human rights violations, because Britain has a Human Rights Act, we need one as well. Hey, let's not invade Taiwan, because there is an international court, and to be fair, the Brits accepted the Chagos Islands. He believes that's what's going to happen.
Does he really?
He genuinely does, and he's not the only one. It's been a worldview of many leaders and institutions for a very long time, and I think it's nonsensical, but we've tried it for a very long time. We tried it with trade, of all things. You know, it's the idea that if you put a McDonald's in Beijing, they might suddenly decide to adhere by human rights.
But it's exactly...
It's lunacy, because
it's not the will of the people, though. So he knows he's going against the people.
We have to be very careful about the phrase "will of the people," because it's bandied around quite a bit recently, and the last 5 years. And
but 90% of Britons don't want this mass immigration.
But this is the other problem that you've got with Israel versus Gaza, or versus Hamas. Sorry, the IDF versus Hamas. Let's just boil it down. The big problem you've got, which I find very difficult, is if you have this worldview that everybody is exactly the same, everybody is a fundamentally good person, the only reason for any wrongdoing is that you are in a difficult situation. What I turn around and say is, look, the culture in Gaza is to be genocidal, right? The culture in Gaza is, if I can kill as many Jews as possible, that's a good thing. I mean, when you read the WhatsApp messages back to mum and dad in Gaza by the people who were beheading Jewish people, they were living the dream.
But even in their own society, in these harsh places that you grow up, these developing world countries.
I prefer to call them dumps.
Well, yeah, but you have to basically fight to survive physically, and you have to be strong, so you'll get more violent people born.
And let's not forget that the West played a great role in keeping the countries like that. The reason we have the migrant crisis is because we kept countries in a stasis. They didn't develop, they didn't get the great economies, they didn't grow like we did.
But I don't agree with that.
Yeah, but just in general, if you think about it, the customs union is designed to keep countries.
I see. You're talking about the EU.
Yeah, so like things like the EU, the United Nations, for example, is another prime nation. Just throw money at them, and hopefully it'll fix itself.
I've got to be honest with you. I went to a museum in Liverpool, and it was about talking about the developing world, and it was amazing. There was a whole segment from, I think it was Save the Children, but I might be wrong, which was about how free trade keeps people poor in the developing world. And it literally had a segment saying, make sure the EU keeps its tariffs up to goods from Africa, because that will make Africa poorer if they're able to trade in the West.
It's ridiculous.
And that's just, I don't think it can't possibly be true.
Morally reprehensible.
It is morally.
It is. It's repugnant more than anything, because yet again we are seeing these large international charities wield huge influence over our society, completely unaccountable, peddling this nonsense.
I've got to be honest.
And it has to be.
I had a friend of mine who met the Bangladeshi High Commissioner. And he said, we hate Save the Children more than anything else. He said, look, the reason is because, he said, first of all, their building in our capital city is bigger than the National Parliament, right? So they've just got thousands of people. And he said, we've got a new metro system that's come in. We're trying to get more business. We're developing our textile industry at the cost of the county we come from, Lancashire. But we're trying to develop our textile industry. And every time we secure some foreign investment, Save the Children, UNICEF, run adverts across the world saying what a dump the place is, right? With it's flooded. Well, it's a floodplain. Of course, it's flooded.
I mean, the prime example. Look at when it was the Rwanda deal was in court. Listen to how people talked about the place.
Yes,
it was absolutely ridiculous. We could, the right gets accused of all these kind of colonial ideas and all the rest of it. They sounded like they walked out of the 1920s. It was ridiculous.
But that's what made me laugh. Africa was the best place in the world until we suggested processing migrants in Rwanda. Then Africa became the worst place you'd ever heard of.
But that's the thing. It is selective moral outrage, and it is caring about something, kind of hyper-focusing on it, and then not caring at all. Because where are you all on Rwanda now? You know what? You all cared about all the people there and everything. I've not seen a protest in ages. No. It's ridiculous, and it is one of the reasons this country is in an absolute mess. Is because of this style of politics. It's lurching from issue to issue, and it's not.
And it helps low-quality people. I heard Stephen Barrett talking about, this Fabian Society joining it. It enables people who aren't very good solicitors to leap ahead. So you've got these mediocre people now.
The trade unions are a prime example. Angela Rayner.
And they're running things, these mediocre.
No-brainer Rayner. It's exactly how she climbed the ladder.
And Keir Starmer. I mean, they're all mediocre. Rachel Reeves, they're all very mediocre.
What about this thing, Pete, about, to return to Angela Rayner, I tried to do it proper. I mean, let's be clear. Her defence is all working class people are thick. Forgive me.
She is. I can't stand this. I'm actually in the middle of writing a piece about this, about the kind of what I call the fetishization of the working class. The way that people wear it like a flag. I mean, it is ridiculous.
Blair used to talk in that funny way, didn't he? Funny.
I'd absolutely. I love it if, like, off camera, she sounded like this, and I absolutely love that. But Owen Jones was apparently is one like that. When he's on TV, he plays up the northern.
Well, that guy, the guy who was on Glastonbury, going deaf to the idea. When I saw him interview, he double-barreled name. He was going, yes, he talks like that.
Wasn't that? I mean, forgive me for it being very out of date, but the New Statesman on ITV, all the Labour ministers were all secretly posh, weren't they?
Aren't they? I mean, Tony Benn is a classic one. He's everyone's hero, but he made sure he didn't have to pay inheritance tax. He got a special lawyer, so it just shows you at the end they're all hypocrites.
Yeah, but the thing that annoys me about Rayner is that she has allowed this kind of girl from Stockport done good narrative to kind of shield her from criticism.
Yes, she has. Come back and hit
yet again, we are seeing the mainstream media, and we're seeing so much of the kind of commentary on this, saying, you can't say that because she's from a working class community. Well, I hate to break it to you, she's called 10 times worse by that community for how she's behaving.
And what do they care about the working class? Look what they did with those girls. They threw hundreds of thousands of them under the bus in the name of what they call diversity.
Her job, like John Prescott's job, is to pretend the Labour Party gives a toss about ordinary people.
She's a handbag.
Yeah,
she's essentially an accessory for Keir Starmer to stand next to you and say, look, I'm with the working people, but by the way, I love how she was set up to fail as a minister by giving her the housing portfolio that was never going to work. She was given all of the kind of roles and responsibilities that were terrible because she's seen as the heir apparent, and also they needed to be able to blame somebody, and nobody else wanted it, so they gave it on her.
She'll get away with it.
She wasn't smart enough to realise she's been set up, and now I think it's starting to all come to
fruition.
Yeah,
I agree with that. Well, look, Asher, why don't we give out all of our details on social media, and
It's a good idea.
And then we will go to a break. So mine is Andre JP Walker
at Virtual Ash.
I'm PC Barnes 123.
And if you're watching in the morning, Mike Graham is back from his American sojourn, so it's hot, that show.
He's
so
also, I think I'm right in saying, if you're watching on Friday morning, that Mike Graham is speaking at Reform Conference today.
Oh, I think that's right. And he had Liz Truss, and he's going to be with Jeremy later on from Reform Conference. So join him if you're listening in the morning in about 45 minutes. But with us, we'll be back in a couple of minutes.
Across the UK, on DAB+, on your smart speaker, on your smart TV, and on your side. This is Talk.
Okay, we've all seen it. No, actually, I can't introduce it like that, can I? Let's clip this out. Okay, so many of you have seen it, but not everybody. It is the Angela Rayner AI song, which is doing the rounds on WhatsApp. We've clipped it out so you can watch and listen to it now. I've got to say to you, just if you are listening to this show, you've got to add us on YouTube. It's just at talkTV. It's really easy because you'll be able to see this later on this show, which you can replay when you get home. Go on, let's watch this Angela Rayner.
Bought me one house, bought me two, flip another flat, tax man, no clue. 80k saved with a bright and tan, dodging more duty than the average man. How many homes can Rayner buy? Laughing at you while all the tax they slide. How many homes, I'll name them all. Big and dancing in the Commons Hall. Council girl roofs, but I climb that chain. From Ashton Street to the seaside lane, stamp duty short, 40 grand unpaid. Oops, bad advice, that's how it's played.
So campaigning for it to get to number one. They're going to be on the show tomorrow night from 10 o'clock tomorrow night. And we'll have a little bit of James Whale as well at 11. So make sure you're tuned in for that.
Yeah, should we remind people properly? Even though this is a pay-per-view with Andre Walker, Asher Gould, and Pete Barnes. So what I want to do is just remind people properly that every single Friday forever at 11 o'clock. We are going to have a tribute to James Whale. Now, I'll tell you the main reason. It's not because we loved him, though we did. And it's not because Asher worked with him for 30 years, though he did. It's mostly because we've got that many clips burning a hole in a hard drive that we just thought to ourselves,
there's a lot of good clips. Yeah.
There's so much good stuff. You can nominate your favourite clip. Now, we know you might not remember exactly who the person is, but if you give us a rough description and send it to 0344 499 1000, you just add us on WhatsApp and send us a voice message. Nobody has nominated anything yet.
Have they not?
No.
All right. Well, yeah, nominate it. Obviously not Terry Tobin. That's my heart you're mocking there. That's my heart.
I've seen that one.
I've watched that about 3
I think I have to admit. I think I'm also trying to
do that again, actually.
That's my heart you're mocking there. Anyway, the Daily Mail. Let's go to the Daily Mail.
By the way, sorry, I don't mean to be disrespectful before the funeral, but can you do your shut up, Ash?
I can't do it. I mean,
Can't
shut up. I thought
it was you. Shut up, Ash.
That's the irony of
it. Shut up, Ash.
The Daily Mail. Rayner's lawyers blame her for tax fiasco as Starmer won't rule out sacking her. Yeah, the lawyers would have seen all through that.
Yeah.
Nadine...
Can I just say that it's actually it's Veracos and Associates, who are an expensive conveyancing lawyer.
They're not going to get.
They are not.
They would have said, you might get this problem. Don't worry, I'll sort it out.
Oh yeah.
I'll do it, Papa.
Just do it. Just do it. I'll sort it out. I'm working class.
You know you're in trouble when your own lawyer turns on you.
Although I do think it's pretty despicable to hire someone as a conveyancing lawyer, and then the way she worded it, I forget the exact wording, but it was indicated to her that.
Indicated is also it's basically a way of saying it was said to me but wasn't said to me, but it was definitely said to me. But it is this use of language and the way of saying that I followed the rules, which, by the looks of it, that she hasn't broken the law. That's really important.
What she will have done is she'll have gone, here's my understanding of the law. Do you agree? And they'll have gone, yeah, sounds about right.
Yeah, but there is something to with the
they've
trust.
not corrected it.
The trust the kid's under 18, so because she's still running it, it does fall into the tax thing.
Pete, I want to ask you this question. So we started up the show, I started up the show saying this. Now, I'm going to say this. I think that Rayner's a bad mother, right? And the reason I'm going to say that is because I want to go through this transaction. Now, if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. And if you want to disagree with me, I disagree with me. But she has said, first of all, she's divorced her husband in 2021, 1 year after the settlement from the NHS with her son over the disability. Fast forward, she now says that she has sold 25% of the family home to the trust set up for her son. So she has sold her house to her 11-year-old son, right? Which I think most of us, when we were 11, were not required to buy the home that we lived in. She next says, I do not live in that house and I never visit it. Now, so what and people can get upset with me by saying she's a bad mother, but what I've discerned from that is this, that number one, when she got the first opportunity, she decided to leave the family home, right? And she charged her son to buy her out of her house. She never visits him because he's in the house and she never visits, right? And she has used at least a portion of his trust to buy herself a holiday home by the seaside. Now, look, I've just said she's a bad mother 3 times now. What am I missing here?
I don't think you're wrong. I just think that she's a bad mother. I'm sorry.
I'll tell you what Alex Dyke
I also think it's very despicable to use your child to get around tax. Just as a general rule, don't use your kids as financial weapons
or political tools.
I'm sorry. I
like Starmer did with his son for with the Lord Ali penthouse.
If your mother, had you been, well, forget being disabled, had you received some sort of a trust or compensation when you were 11 years old, your mother would not have sold you part of the family home. Forced you to pay for it and then moved to Brighton.
Yeah, because what she's done is what they call clouding. So in other words, it's just made the kind of what tax status of everything is very difficult to discern. So you kind of mess it all up is a general way of putting it. And that's what she's done. It's done deliberately.
But they see through that. HMRC get that all the time.
Yeah, I'll tell you what it reminds me of. It reminds me of the Philip Schofield situation, right? I'll tell you what that was. Philip Schofield coming out as gay, right? Philip Schofield was a serial philanderer, right, who used to date young men, get them jobs on ITV, and then demand they be fired when he was bored of them. Right. Well, he did it once. Once is enough.
Yeah,
okay.
I think once is enough.
But here is my point. The gay thing was not relevant.
Oh yes,
right?
yes.
Similarly with Angela Rayner, she's put all this flannel around it. But fundamentally, her son gets a payoff. She uses the money to buy her out of the house and buys a holiday home with the money. Right. In what way is that not my disabled son has paid for my holiday home?
Exactly. And notice how quickly she ran to. Oh, it was for my son who's got a disability, by the way. You see it all the time.
I like the way Cameron didn't do that, and nor did Gordon Brown. It was always kept. They both had disabled children. Exactly. They always kept it out. It's very distasteful.
Also, the other thing is, I've got friends of mine who have received payouts for disabilities that they got when they were a baby. Some people are better than others. But I don't know,
and sometimes you have to buy a house for the disabled.
I don't know anyone who whose parents sold the house to the child.
Yeah, and then it's the fact that she's originally her plan was, I've done nothing wrong. Now she's changed her story, and the kid's been thrown into it. It just stinks.
Could the story see,
there's no other word for it.
If she's not a bad mother, here is the story as it would have to be. The story would have to be that when she saw the big payout, she saw an opportunity to buy a holiday home. So she pretended that she'd moved out of Ashton-under-Lyne in order to justify her child's trust giving her £162,000 towards the holiday home. home. And she said, the reason why I got him to buy it is because I don't live there and I never visit. Actually, what she said is, hey, there's a few quid here.
Yeah, exactly. And I'll tell you what, the thing that really annoys me a lot about this is, as I was saying earlier, is how the mainstream has protected her and she's treating her with kid gloves. It is the hypocrisy I can't stand.
Yeah.
She got up in Parliament and she declared everybody to be a tax dodger. She said it was rotten. She called everybody names. She did the exact same thing, and people are out there right now, I was watching it just before we came in, saying, oh, well, she's been a victim of snobbery. She's been a victim of this.
Yeah, she called for Boris Johnson to resign.
I'm going to say this very clearly. She is not a victim. She is the villain.
Yeah, but we
saw
and
it. Has to be
we saw it with all those. We saw it with all the usual brigade with Hugh Edwards.
Yes,
right. Where basically once again, actually, do you know what? Hugh Edwards was a better example than Schofield, where the whole gay depressed thing was not relevant to the fact that he was an absolute wrong, and that was before the criminal allegations.
I tell you who's also trying it on this front: Nicola Sturgeon.
Yes.
With the whole am I a lesbian thing. That is kind of, oh, please don't look at my record as First Minister and the terrible decisions I made and the dodgy money and all the rest of it.
And the bus at her mother's.
Yeah. And all of that stuff. Let's not look at that. I might be a lesbian.
There was that millionaire Liberal Democrat. Do you remember? I forget the name of him now. Probably best we don't remember, actually. David Laws. Who basically...
I feel so sorry for him.
Moved his partner into the house and then basically claimed the house on expenses, even though his partner was paying half the rent, and said, oh, well, the reason I pocketed the money was because I didn't want to admit I was gay.
Yeah.
Do you remember the
I always thought he actually was quite a good minister as well, to be honest.
Jackie Smith with the porn movies on the cable TV with her husband. You remember that?
That was
spicy, wasn't it?
But I mean, we're not. I mean, it's turned into a largely a discussion about sexuality here, which I didn't intend it to be.
That's politics, isn't it?
I don't think it's that. I think what it is.
It's this obfuscation.
Yes, that's the point. Is that yet again, it is certain people are protected and other people aren't. Do you want to talk about two-tier society? It's right here. Well, it is happening in front of us on this issue.
If you sit there and say, you can't attack me because of my disabled son, I'd say, I raised you, you made his trust buy the house, aged 11.
You brought it in to the situation, I'm going to talk about it.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
I want a holiday. I want a holiday home. It is the trust needs to buy me out of the house. What was the other? What's the extension then? Well, if you don't buy me out of the house, then he'd have to leave.
Yeah.
I mean, I know. How does this go?
Emotional blackmail.
Yeah, it is. It is. And what also annoyed me is when she did an interview with people on Sky. So obviously a more sympathetic interview, and this was all choreographed. You know, this is, and again, it just stinks. And it's the very worst of our politics just laid bare. And we're watching it all happen, and there is nothing the public can do about it. And
what about Nadine Dorries quits for reform? Here is my thing, Pete. Nigel Farage loves a defection.
Yes,
I don't get. I mean, look, I'm going to be totally honest with you, and I like this guy. I went to dinner with Sir Jake Berry.
Yeah.
Right. And he said, I'm out of party politics forever. I'm never getting involved again. And I said to him, I think Nigel Farage is really struggling to find people for the House of Lords. He defected 3 days later.
Yeah. I mean, I'm also reminded that Nigel Farage said the same thing. But Nadine Dorries, have her. Literally, you can have her.
Have you read her book? Did you read the book?
Well, I don't think she has. I think that was half the problem. Don't forget that she had this blog that she claimed was 70% not true and only 30% the truth. That, you know, that her own constituency councils called for her resignation because she hadn't held a surgery in years.
No, Pete.
I'm sorry. The list of things this woman.
Pete, you didn't deliver the Jed Bartlett line properly. We're going to try it again.
Yeah.
Which is, have you read a book? The answer is, I'll read it when she does.
Well,
okay, so here we go. So we'll do it for the clip.
We'll try it again.
So, Pete Barnes, have you read Nadine Dorries' book?
I'll read it when she does.
That insight looks great in Mike Graham's.
No, but I actually think it was Ronald Reagan that said that. I think it was Reagan. But to talk also about housing situations, Nadine Dorries was wrapped up in a kind of which is her main house. You know, she is the very worst of Westminster politics. She had hired her daughters for nepotism. nepotism, and she had dodgy claims about paid actors and all the
No,
rest
don't
of
be
it.
critical. She had a highly successful career at talkTV.
She was very bitter that she didn't get in the House of Lords.
Oh, yeah.
When
And
you
then
see the people that did get in, you can see why she would be bitter.
No, don't insult. Don't insult Darren Mott. Darren Mott, Lord Mott. That'll
Mott.
stop the traffic in Beijing.
Anyway,
won't
a
it?
seismic blow to the party she served for more than 30 years as former cabinet minister defected to Farage. Doris is sensationally defected to Reform
Sensationally.
and declared the Tory party is dead after months of secret negotiations to form a Conservative
What
culture.
negotiations?
The secret
Who
negotiation.
with?
It's probably Lee
Were
Anderson.
they in the room with her at the time?
The secret negotiation will be, please, can I join?
Yeah, it will
right.
be, yeah.
yeah,
I
come
mean,
on.
but this is the point. What Farage is doing is he's building this momentum of showing the Tory party on the decline. He's showing Reform is the place to go. I get the optics of it. However, I can't help but notice, and I said this to Gawain Towler just 2 weeks ago, the Reform Party is starting to become somewhat of the trash can of failed Tories. And the base of the Reform Party don't particularly like that very much. And I think there is a real problem brewing there.
The big concern when we're talking about the House of Lords is all of these trash will get into the House of Lords and will be worse. Than what's there already.
Oh,
I mean,
without doubt.
let's be clear. Mad Nads is a troll.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
Let's just be clear. Right. She is out there. Right.
I mean, like, she's even further away than out there.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
I mean,
she
let's not
believes the
forget-
people from the planet Zog run the country.
And you wonder why aliens don't talk to us? She's why. But I don't remember when she resigned. It then took a little while for her to say whether she'd actually resigned or not,
Yes.
because of all this. When we talk about uni-party politics, when we talk about the kind of rot in Westminster, it's people like that that have to go. So I find it more interesting that she's welcome and Suella Braverman isn't.
Yes.
I find that curious.
I mean, I've got to be honest with you. I think the
What
war.
happened?
Oh, well, Suella Braverman is a very capable politician.
Well,
she's
yeah,
very
and
cloud,
it's
yeah.
like,
So
right,
she will
yeah.
make...
Yeah.
she's a threat to Farage.
It could be she was a bit like Thatcher. Do you remember she was the first one that shifted? She said multiculturalism. Has failed.
Yes.
She was the first one.
She was the first one, and she was like castigated for it and all that.
But she could get away with it. It had to be someone from the ethnic communities that would say that. Daily Star, free racing pullout inside.
Yes.
And again, lawyers deny tax advice. Writings on the wall for no-brainer Rayner. And there's graffiti on her new flat.
I was going to say.
Because I know someone lives around there, and they said someone who's moving in saw her walking around there a couple of months ago. And now they're graffitiing the lovely white walls. They're going to be happy, the residents.
Is she doing the chicken run?
Well, yes. This is the next point I was actually going to bring up. Is that she is doing the chicken run? That she's got a hop, skip, and jump into a safe seat because, as it stands right now, she won't be an MP at the next general election.
Yes.
So, I actually think that's disgraceful when politicians do that.
I think the chicken run should be banned.
I think it should be banned, 100%.
Right, now the top story is Zoe in love. Who's Zoe? Who's that bloke? Does anyone know? No one knows who celebrities are.
Oh, it's Zoe
Also, Giorgio Armani died today. Great. I'd wear his sunglasses and some of his clothes. I've got some shoes.
But give him, I could say, don't take his clothes.
Who's Zoe? Do you know you're from the youth?
Well, hardly, but that is, she's an actress.
And who's he?
Is that Zoe Saldana?
Oh, a lovely, beautiful couple.
Yeah.
I've
She's
no
very
idea.
tall.
He is, or
Although
maybe
she's very
she's short.
small.
I mean, Zoe Sultana.
There you go. Zoe Sultana. That's not real.
No, it's Zara's daughter.
Zara Sultana.
Zoe Sultana, and that's Jeremy Corbyn's lad.
It's Saldana.
And it's fantastic, isn't it?
Yeah.
No, I don't know.
Shall we try the AI?
Shall we try a little? Yeah. See you.
We'll take a photo of it and ask AI who are these people.
Yeah, she's in the Marvel movies.
Okay.
Oh, it's breaky time, right? So we're going to... Don't forget, Mike Graham, if you're listening in the morning in half an hour, we're going to do this and do an AI experiment about Zoe Sultana. We'll be back in a couple of minutes.
across the UK, on DAB+, on your smart speaker, on your smart TV, and on your side. This is Talk.
Okay, this is the paper review with Andre Walker, Asher Gould and Pete Barnes. If you are listening on Friday morning, Mike Graham is coming up. A big day for Mikey speaking at Reform Conference, and it's an absolutely brilliant, action-packed show. Well, it always is.
And Jeremy Kyle as well is going to be speaking now.
Yeah, OK, although Jeremy Kyle wasn't in the programme. Mike Graham was in the programme.
He's just got in there.
Mike Graham's Jeremy's gone, come on, Mike, let us in, let us in. OK, so we were looking at the front page of the Daily Star, which I think you'll find is a right riveting read. And on the front page was a picture of a man with his arm around a woman, and it said Zoe in Love, page 3. I took a photo of it and spoke to AI and asked what they thought, who they thought this photo was. So
we've got no idea.
In answer to the question, who are these people? It said, the image appears to be a woman called Zoe who is in love with someone.
We know more than the AI. Even AI doesn't know who celebrities
The context and style is consistent with them being celebrities of some description, but it is impossible to identify who Zoe is.
Like, I was going to say, how cheap is the AI that you're using? Have you not got like some kind of premium? Is that where they
Yeah.
He really doesn't know. That's how bad they fall.
That's 20 quid a month for that.
Yeah.
20 quid a month.
But you know who's more? I find now it's a stage where YouTube people are more famous than celebrities on television.
Yeah. I mean, like, look at the shift in advertising and where all the money goes. It's not on big celebrities anymore.
I've got to be honest with you. Yeah. I signed my first sponsorship deal for YouTube the other day, and when they told me how much I was being paid per video, I had a heart attack.
What was that? What was with the hair dye company?
Yeah.
No, okay.
L'Oreal.
Yeah.
Studio. The Times. Giorgio Armani. He someone who knew him for 30 years, 1934 to 2025, so not a bad innings. I'm happy to be naked on screen, says Andrew Lincoln. Don't know who he is. Epping
Why'd you do these celebrity ones?
Well, it's just there. I'm not Anchorman. If it's there, I love a celebrity story. Epping hotel migrant found guilty of sexual assault on girl 14, and that's what these protests were about, and other events that are happening there. And the government, of course, fought our own people to get them to basically allow them to appeal. They haven't won it yet, but they probably will with their judicial activists in position. An asylum seeker who provoked nationwide protests when he was accused of sexually assaulting a 14-year-old girl and a woman near a migrant hotel in Essex has been convicted. So it's sort of, it says they're the truth. What they're saying the truth, and these people, activists, coming down and protesting against them who aren't from the local area. It's really kicking off down there. What do you think of this court decision anyway that overturned this?
I got into quite a lot of trouble
not
on Friday because I actually think it was the right decision. Fundamentally, because...
Well, they've been allowed to appeal.
Yes.
They haven't. It's just stopped the injunction, so they've now got to do the whole appeal.
Whilst we are all of horrific incidences like this, that is not what the court case was about. I do not understand, and I said this on Friday, and I repeat it now, I don't understand how a modern democracy like Britain has its entire immigration policy on the line over a planning issue at a hotel in Essex. How is that a sensible decision? It is just absurd to me. And what it boils down to is cowardice. We have cowardly politicians who haven't made decisions and have just kicked the can down the road, and the courts are now having to do all of this stuff that they shouldn't be in the position to do.
There is an attempt. There is something which I think is distasteful. I'm sure we all agree, which is that political decisions are now being referred to the court, which is Graham Linehan. Is Graham Linehan a knob or not? Well, it's not for the courts to decide. It's for you to individually decide. However, it is true to say that in most cases, local authorities were not notified of the change from these being hotels to being hostels. The definition of a hotel being that it's publicly bookable and for short term. The definition of a hostel being it's not publicly bookable and for long-term stays. So first of all, you're right, the immigration policy of the whole country shouldn't be decided on this. But nor should the government simply ride roughshod over local planning.
It doesn't trump it, just because they're national politics doesn't trump local politics.
Yes, and this is where we're excited to see this kind of come to fruition, which I think a lot of us have been waiting for.
By the way, here is the big moment of this show. Right, even bigger than Mike Graham's breakfast show that's coming up in a couple of moments. Apparently, it was Zoe Kravitz.
Oh, Oh, Lenny
Is that
Kravitz.
Lenny?
Lenny
Lenny's daughter.
Yeah,
Lenny
she
Kravitz.
was in Big Little Lies. Yeah, I know. Actually,
So it's all apparently it's also Harry Styles.
Kravitz.
Now, by the way, when they're
That's
saying
Harry Styles.
when they're saying
Is that Harry Styles?
when they were saying it's Zoe Kravitz, right? Okay, so it's Zoe Kravitz. What the gallery have also said is it's this daughter of Lenny Kravitz. Well, we guessed that.
Yes, yeah.
I mean, it's like Kravitz is not. It's like there's only two Quasis.
Yeah.
Quasi Kwarteng and Quasimodo.
Yeah.
There's only two.
There's only two.
Right.
Yeah.
They are related.
They are related. Yeah, they are. The bells. The bells.
Yeah.
The bells.
Quasimodo walks into a pub and says, "I'll have a whiskey." Bell's all right.
Hey.
There you
And,
go.
my favourite is a black horse walks into a bar and the barman goes, "We've got a type of whiskey named after you." And he goes, "What, Derek?"
Next story in the Times: security alert as prankster hides phone in Commons. Someone hid a phone.
Do you want me to read this to you because you can't see it?
Yeah, they were basically it was set to make sexy noises during Prime Minister's questions, but security discovered it before.
Parliamentary authorities have begun an investigation after a mobile phone was hidden in the Commons as part of a prank to broadcast sex noises during Prime Minister's questions. The Times has been told that the phone was planted near the front bench and was intended to go off as Sir Keir Starmer faced Ken Badenoch in the Commons on Wednesday. It had been due to play sexually explicit studio recordings. However, the phone was found...
They had a mic in Matt Hancock's office for a couple of years
recordings.
ago. They were playing that replay of that.
Yeah, can you imagine? Let's go down to the studio. Oh God. Whenever I make a noise
John
like
Major
that,
and Edwina Curry.
I always remember RTL from the 90s. Yeah, schnell, yeah.
Oh yeah.
Remember RTL?
No, when I used to talk sports back in the old days, we used to have the special TV, you know, all the foreign ones, and at midnight he used to change to this very hardcore French Canal Plus. It was terrible. Yeah.
Yeah, I'd like to apologise to everybody having breakfast right now.
I've got to be honest with you. My driver's got Babe Station on the tellies in the back.
I didn't know that was still going. Anyway, let's have a look at this.
No, but it's interesting. Do you not remember when that happened was it on Match of the Day? And there was the phone.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I kind of vaguely remember that.
It was in the background.
It would have been funny if it would have happened. And when would it have been during Starmer, I suppose?
It probably would have been. But it does kind of tell you about the lax security, about, you know, it's...
But they found it.
Yeah,
but who put it there?
Well, yeah, how long had it been there?
Well, the other thing is, there are public tours. I mean, I did a tour of Parliament once, and somebody wrote on...
No, we get out. Yeah.
Oh.
You actually just spelt it out. Yeah. You spelt it out.
All right.
There was nothing left. There was nothing left to the imagination.
Okay, well, we'll tell the story again after that dumping, which was I did a tour of Parliament and somebody wrote a very rude thing on Gordon Brown's bag. So rude that when I spelt it out a minute ago, even that wasn't allowed in the show. Okay, okay. Let's move
Lawyers
on.
for Rayner deny giving her tax advice. It's getting worse. Situation's untenable. With scapegoats, say conveyancers in flat sale. PM vows to active report fines. I do that. Lawyers don't lie, and why would they do something so stupid as that?
That's the thing. It's a big reputational damage if they are giving bad advice. They're going to defend themselves.
These are the top lawyers.
Exactly.
No, I mean, they do lie, but these, not these. I mean, you wouldn't lie on procedural things. You know.
But equally, she didn't say, "I've taken legal advice. Here it is, and it was wrong." It was something. It was. They didn't say indicated, but do you know what? Do us a favour in the gallery. Get the exact wording of what she said about the lawyers, so we can read it out, because they
didn't do it proper.
They didn't do it proper.
Me and Andre, as Northerners, will translate it for you.
That's right. Okay, so I think we need to go to a break now, don't we? I just want to remind you that you can phone up the Mike Graham Breakfast Show, 03444991000. It's going to be a big show today, absolutely brilliant as ever. And this is the paper review with Andre Walker, Asher Gould and Pete Barnes.
across the UK, on DAB+, on your smart speaker, on your smart TV, and on your side. This is Talk.
Yes, this is Talk, and this is the press preview with Andre Walker, Asher Gould and Pete Barnes. I just want to talk about a story that's in The Guardian. I know that's not... that's not what I know. But it's
what is in that glass?
It's basically that Palestine Action, who are an illegal terrorist organisation, have somehow won the right to challenge their own ban. I don't quite understand how that works.
Well, it was Hamas were doing that with that Irish barrister. I mean, it was pretty useless, but I mean...
But I want to broaden this about Palestine Action. So first of all, I'm absolutely appalled by this idea. Well, let's just overwhelm the police by all wearing terrorist T-shirts. But actually, Greta Thunberg. Now, we've seen with Graham Linehan that he is a foreign national who has tweeted from Arizona. Greta Thunberg is wearing a T-shirt saying, "We are all Palestine Action," in various pictures. She has supported, and by supported, that means that she literally is a terrorist.
Yep.
So if you support a prescribed...
She was one before this anyway.
Yeah. If you support a prescribed terrorist group in the United Kingdom, you are a terrorist.
Yeah.
That is the law of this country. So Greta Thunberg is now a terrorist. And what are we going to do when she enters the United Kingdom? Are we going to arrest her under terror offences? Are we going to say she can't enter the UK as a result of being a terrorist? Or should we do what I'd love them to do? When Israel arrest her, they should lock her up for 5 years and then extradite her to Britain, and we'll lock her up for 5 as well.
Yeah, and the rest.
Yeah,
I mean, Israelis have said they won't be not giving her sandwiches this time. She'll be locked in the proper terrorist
I rather liked what was it Donald Trump that said, "Oh, hasn't Israel got enough problems on its hands than having her in the country?" And it just rather strike to me yet again that the world is paying attention to a young. Well, I don't know how old she is now, but
she's an adult now.
Yeah, but we'd lost our minds over this girl.
Yeah.
Like, she was dictating international policies.
How dare you?
How dare you?
How dare you?
Oh my God!
Do you know what I'd do? Do you know what I'd do with her? Do you know what I'd do with her?
She's 22.
I mean, the thing is about her, she was like the girl in The Wizard of Oz. What's her name? Julie Andrews.
Do you know?
Julie. What?
You know.
Anyway, it doesn't
Wizard
matter.
of Oz.
The Wizard of Oz.
Yeah.
Julie Garland. Greta Thunberg played a child, but was an adult.
Yes.
So when she was like 18, that juvenile look she had to look like a 12-year-old. I mean, she looked like adverts for the young maidens of Nazi Germany.
Yeah, I'm going to say, let's not forget they did the same with Shamima Begum, didn't they?
Yeah.
They make her.
But let's just be clear on one thing. I would like to see Israel or Britain lock her up with the terrorists she's supporting.
Yeah.
Lock her up with them.
Yeah, also, what are we doing about the kind of mass arrests that we had? It was the largest number of arrests on a single day in Met history for quite some time. Do you notice how nobody talks about that?
I think some are getting charged. There was an 86-year-old.
So what we've done is we fast-tracked people who were protesting over Southport. We are not bothering to fast-track people who've supported a terrorist organisation that destroyed a number of British military vehicles.
Yes, and also those were active military vehicles.
Yes.
This idea that they were just a couple of planes. Those planes are used in counter-offensives against Russia.
Yeah,
they're actively used.
Which they're saying there might be war in like less than a year.
Yeah,
and by the way, Pete, let's just take that a step further. They destroyed them in order to make them operationally incapable.
Yes, which is not vandalism, it is sabotage.
It's sabotage.
It's sabotage. We have to stop saying that it was just some paint.
But
it wasn't. The consequences could have been
destroyed the engine, a £7 million engine.
Pete, I want to ask you this. So, I don't know what offences Greta Thunberg will be guilty of when she enters Gaza illegally, but there will be an immigration offence, there might be a terror offence, there might be an embargo block offence. But look, there will be multiple offences. If Israel sentences her to 5 years, would you sit there and say, good on them, and actually, Israel should ignore the international outrage?
Well, they're ignoring it anyway.
Yeah.
This is my thing with Israel at the minute. You know, you can have all your protests all you like. They don't care anymore.
I think they care, but they won't stop.
Maybe they should let her go through and get into Gaza and then see what happens.
It's like the Queers for Palestine thing. Off you go.
She wants to get stopped. She knows they won't let her in, so they should let her in.
That's the point. That's the point. She wants the headline. She wants the pictures of her being carried away.
They murdered an Italian guy who did that about 10 years ago.
Actually, it reminds me very much of Bobby Sands and the Hunger Strikers, which sounds like a 70s pop group. But you know, Bobby Sands wanted either the British government to back down or force feed him. The reason Margaret Thatcher is so hated in the Republican community is because she would not do either, right? Greta Thunberg wants to be scooped up by the Israelis and stopped. What they should do is deliver her to Gaza City. Stick her in the middle.
Without a doubt. I don't understand why we don't do that. You know, you want to protest in the middle of London every weekend, you know, you get up, here's a flight, off you go.
I mean,
live there.
Queues for Palestine, because this plays in the morning. Queues for Palestine, we should have airlifted them to Palestine. We should have sent them to Gaza. We absolutely should have. Because what was egregious about that was these are turkeys voting for Christmas. And they're so twisted with hatred for the system that has given them the rights that they would rather have an Islamist terror mob from Iran take over. They should have been given them.
This is what I always say when it comes to these kind of groups of people is show their hypocrisy. Show them to be the morons that they are. For too long, we talk about everything in a kind of abstract way and we kind of somehow like can lessen their impact and everything. I was like, no. We have to start showing the public this is what they're starting to say and believe.
I was reading about something that Ash has mentioned multiple times about the Ayatollah Khomeini and the number of people on the political left who said, don't worry, this guy will be fine. You know, it's going to be a left-wing government. Oh, all of these allegations against him that he's a genocidal terrorist maniac, all of that will be proved to be untrue. And can I tell you, it took him 10 minutes to shoot all the lefties.
Oh God, he had that plan ready to go.
Oh, without a doubt, without a doubt. And once again, what will happen is, and this is what the Israelis know, if Greta Thunberg is allowed to win, all of those, don't worry. We had a bloke on my Saturday show with Danielle Nichols, and I said, all right, Israel ceases to exist. What happens the next day? And you know what they said? They said all communities will come together.
Oh, my
Lord.
No. I'm sorry.
No. Those Jews that don't make it out Ben Gurion Airport will be decapitated.
Oh, yeah.
That's what will happen.
And just one simple thing. History tells you that communities don't come together.
No,
they don't.
No, exactly. Whenever they say, "Oh, these communities all used to get on,"
And
it's when the crap hits the fan is when you got to be.
We should also tell.
We
should also tell Greta Thunberg that she's advocating the 4-state solution. Right? We've already got the 2-state solution. What they now want is Gaza and the West Bank to be a separate state. When there's the 4 states, sorry, that's 5 states.
That's 3 states. 3 states.
No, because you've got Jordan and Israel. Palestine is split in half. That's the 2-state solution. Then you've got Jordan, Palestine. You've got Jordan, Israel, Gaza, and Palestine, West Bank. That's the 4-state solution. Then they'll ask for the 5-state solution. The 6-state solution.
Can I just say something very clearly? The more of these kind of solutions and things, you're hiding your anti-Semitism. That is what it's starting to look like.
It's true. I mean, if all the people in Israel converted to Islam, they'd be all right with it, and they wouldn't want the land back, which proves it is about them being Jews.
Do you know what I'd do if I was the king of Jordan? I'd go, listen, and I've said this on my YouTube channel, Andre JP Walker. Listen, there's one thing that the Middle East has got: sand. Shed loads of sand. If you want sand, knock yourself out. Acres and acres, miles and miles, hills full of sand. Sand. There's the only reason if you say to yourself, I would love, what is it, 150 miles by 20 miles square of sand. I'll tell you, Saudi Arabia, knock yourself out, there's loads of it. They only want that lump of old sand because there's Jews living on it. That's it. Sand, they're not short of sand.
No,
there's sand everywhere.
You know, and we're starting to see more and more of it. It's all that kind of...
Sinai desert, sand. No, it's all sand.
It's this kind of...
Sand. I mean, when they're going, the Muslims have been pushed out, it's just a load of old sand. There's sand everywhere.
The thing I always, when they say, it's you know, I was like, well, where is the Muslim community when it comes to Palestine? Because pretty much they'd been kicked out of every country they were in, and the minute they're all kicked off, everybody shut their borders. There is a reason for that.
Yeah, and actually, there's a brilliant guy, and I keep missing who it is. There's a guy who keeps coming up on my shorts on YouTube and on other platforms, who is clearly a very sensible but conservative Islamic leader in the Middle East, who keeps pointing out the dangers of allowing terrorists to I was going to use the word beardize, if you see what I mean, Islam. And he was saying, look, the West is allowing the radicals to run amok in a way that we know that they shouldn't be allowed to run amok.
It's the centre of jihadism, isn't it, in this country, really?
So it's quite interesting. When you look at Saudi Arabia as an example, one of the ways that, yes, there are serious problems there. The way that they were able to tidy it up a little bit was actually tackling the radical element of it. And I say this very clearly. The UK has done nothing to tackle the radical Islamic thread that runs through.
Well, they all left there and moved to Europe.
Yes, and we use the example, Andre, of the clerics that come to the mosques.
Yes.
Oh, they were just a guest.
Yeah, that's right.
Don't invite them. Kick them out.
That's right.
Kick them out.
Can you imagine in the 1930s a Catholic Church saying, "Oh, we invited Hitler to speak." But we're not endorsing his views.
Oh, I know. Yeah,
but they did. I mean, the Nazis did before the war. They played at Spurs. They flew the Nazi flag above Spurs, and England did the Nazi salute in Berlin. They actually.
It's Karl Popper, isn't it? The tolerant society problem. We are starting to live in that situation where.
Well, the far right leader Pim Fontaine in the Netherlands, he concluded that in order to maintain a liberal society, you had to be illiberal on people who were illiberal. Which sounds silly.
Be tolerant to intolerance.
Okay, I just want to say to you that Mike Graham's show is coming up, The Breakfast Show, in a couple of minutes. It's absolutely brilliant. It is absolutely every week, and of course he's speaking later at Reform. I might try and bob over to the conference myself. You can get in touch with him, 0344 499 1000. Calls just charged at your normal rate, and of course we don't give out often enough the @talkTV, which you can follow the Twitter, largely because Asher, Pete and I are trying to promote our own social media without
Andre JP Walker at
PC Barnes 123.
Okay, so Mike Graham is coming up just in a couple of moments if you are listening on Friday morning. Take it away.
Welcome to the show.
Okay, and if you're listening on Thursday night, Pete, what are you predicting for the conference season?
Oh, well, the Reform one is looking like Nigel Farage needs some money because it is nothing but a cash grab. The Tory one is going to be more depressing than a funeral.
Are you going?
I am indeed.
Where is it?
I think Birmingham, I think. No.
It will be depressing then.
Yes, but the Labour one will be the most interesting one.
That'll be fun.
That will.
They wouldn't let me in though, to be honest.
No, we won't get.
Is that in Brighton by Angela's pad?
But I tell you now, one thing that is interesting for the Tories, this is make or break for Kemi. They were supposed to have the big announcement of the ECHR decision.
She's not cutting the mustard, is she?
There's a lot riding on this conference for her.
And she in 20 days' time can be no confidence, can't she?
Yes, she can.
Yeah,
that's
something
the
like
important
that.
point.
Something like that. Okay, thank you so much to Pete Barnes.
Thanks,
you can
Pete.
catch him on YouTube. What is it, PC Barnes?
PC Barnes 123.
Okay, and we will be back just in a couple of moments. Oh, yeah.
across the UK. On DAB+, on your smart speaker, on your smart TV, and on your side. This is Talk.
Right, Asher, I feel quite bad about this. We didn't actually really do the front pages, did we?
Yeah, we did enough of it, though.
It's
all about us, really.
We just slagged off Rayner for a full hour. OK, I'll tell you what we'll do. We will give you the front pages before the end of the show. Also, just want to remind you that tomorrow night, like every Friday at 11 o'clock... OK, tonight at 11 p.m, we're going to have our, what's it called, Weekly Whale?
Yeah.
Or the Wailing Wall?
Yeah. Well, we'll think of a name. Weekly Wales, good so far. That we'll stick with that. This hour, though, it's all about you calling in. We've got Adam, Naomi, Grace, John, Chris, Ken, Lowry, Dave, Ian and Robert, and you too.
OK, well, I'll tell you what we'll do. We are going to go straight to Adam in Somerset. Adam, you're on Talk.
Hello. Yeah, basically, if Angela Rayner took legal advice, what does that say about the legal advice that the Cabinet are getting for everything they're doing?
Well, they deny they gave her the bad legal advice.
No, it's important to bear in mind she didn't get it from a government lawyer. What she got was apparently from a conveyancing solicitor. I think the chances of a conveyancing solicitor having actually given her legal advice on the taxation situation of a trust for a disabled child is zero.
So where are the Cabinet going for any of the legal advice that they're getting?
Well, it was her private lawyer for buying the property.
Yeah, no. The entire Cabinet.
Yeah.
If she's doing that, where is the entire Cabinet going for their legal advice on anything?
Their own lawyers.
Yeah, correct. What they're doing...
Yeah, So what I'm saying is anything that they're doing, basically,
legal,
have any credence in law, because they're not going to.
Well, she chose to take no serious legal advice on an important issue, and she got away with it for a period of time. That raises troubling questions.
Yeah, but she's a prominent person within the Cabinet.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, that's why the Telegraph, exposed
she's a prominent person within the Cabinet, and this is the sort of thing she is doing.
Yeah, well, the press will be looking to expose. Well, other people, I mean, remember with Peter Mandelson, it got exposed a couple of times with his mortgages. The press, that's what a free press is all about, and which is why there's a big problem, and a lot of the media are basically batting for them, which is the importance of this station. Anyway, thanks, Adam. Let's get a bit of spiritual enlightenment from Ken in London. Ken, morning.
Good morning, gentlemen.
Morning.
I've got 3 points to make, if you'll allow me. I'll try to be as fast as I can.
Number one.
If you've been number one, if we've been watching the news in the past few days, we've been noticing China, Russia, and North Korea conspiring to do harm, as Mr. Trump declares.
Yes. Well, we know they're the enemies, of us.
But you have to understand what is happening in the world today, dear friends, listeners, viewers. Yeah. The world is preparing for war.
Yes, they reckon mid-2026 there could be mass casualty events in these countries. They're having to prepare the hospitals all over Europe for taking in many soldiers.
I've read that too. I've read that action, but also they're all broke. Every nation is bankrupt almost. They're up to.
Don't you think that's why they want the war? There's nothing like a war to clear out stuff and sort out your political problems, raise money for big business. It takes our eye off the ball of the collapse of our countries.
Correct.
There's more to it than that. The wars are actually a manifestation of the evil within the heart of men. That's a good point. War is from the devil.
There is that as well.
War is from the devil. But the thing I'm trying to make a point tonight is that Europe's uniting together, and as fast as possible, they're openly stating there's war coming with Russia. UK is rearming. USA is prepared right now, and they're further preparing to fight with Russia, China, and North Korea. And what we've read lately, the defence chiefs in the UK, Germany, Sweden, Poland, Finland, USA, the defence chiefs are openly warning the nations that war is coming possibly soon.
Yes, they are.
This is happening right now.
And people don't really realise it, do they?
People don't.
We're sleepwalking into World War.
And here's another amazing thing. The second
number two.
While this warmongering is going on, the war drums are beating. While this is going on, the world debt is amazing. UK are now, I think it's approximately 4 trillion.
We're basically bankrupt, and we're going to have to go cap in hand. And this is another reason for the war.
But listen, Ash, we're all bankrupt. US is 40 trillion in debt.
Well,
I just read about France.
There's going to be another financial crisis.
Financial collapses on that, and the view here. Real financial collapse. This is all bad news. There's good news at the end of this, but we are in trouble in the world. And the third wee quick point is this.
Number 3.
While the war drums are going on, while the financial collapse is heading towards us, like a storm, the world is now experiencing, especially the Western world, a flood of evil, dangerous, religious, Islamic adherents spreading throughout Europe. The UK, USA and Australia. Have you been reading about Australia lately?
Yeah.
The Muslims have taken over Australia. Now, this is armies of young, fit men that have been strategically placed within almost all Western nations preparing for war against infidels. This is, and on top of all that, there's Israel and Jerusalem. That's the big flashing
What was the good news?
The good news is, Ash.
Number 4.
Christ, the Saviour, is coming to stop it and judge the world and establish the kingdom of God on earth. So I want to tell you, friends, that's bad news. They're giving you some bad news. But the good news is Jesus. It's not religion. Christ died for us. He rose from the dead. He ascended to heaven. All you listeners, please take heed. Jesus Christ is coming soon in judgment. We all need to repent. Every one of us are guilty sinners. Turn to Jesus, friends, before it's too late.
Can I?
He died for us.
Can you sent me some great videos of you talking to people, because I think it's important to bear in mind when you see Ken out and about, it's not really a protest in as much as you are trying to tell what Christians call spread the good news, right? But what these Hamas supporters that have been protesting in central London, what do they say to you? Because I noticed it was quite a lot of white guys, presumably nominally Christian people, that walked up to you.
They weren't Christian people, Andre. They're supporters of Hamas. They support Hamas.
Useful idiots.
These people are dangerous haters of Israel. They hate the Jews. This is the driving force behind this movement. It's hatred of Israel and the people of Israel.
But what do they say to you? Because let me understand this. So there is a protest in favour of Hamas or in favour of Gaza or whatever you want to say. All you are doing is walking up saying, Jesus loves you, Jesus is the King of Israel or whatever, right? So what is their objection to you being there?
Because they hate the Messiah of Israel, Jesus. Right. The real hatred of the Jew in Israel, behind it all, underneath it is the hatred of the Messiah. That is where the crux of the matter is. These people hate to hear about Jesus Christ, the Son of God. They hate to hear his name mentioned. The Muslims hate to hear Jesus is the Son of God. This is the problem, and this is what's going to cause the Lord to return in judgment. He offers us all forgiveness, man.
Can I ask you this? Can I ask you this? The next question, Ken. I mean, look, so you are both positive and negative, depending on what we're talking about. I mean, negative about the way society has denigrated, positive about the fact that there's an option to save it. But how worried are you personally? Because a lot of people are saying, well, these Hamas supporters are not really a problem, but you've met them up close. How worried are you about bringing more of these people to the country?
Well, it's all a pre-planned agenda of Islam. What Islam does historically, they move into a city, a nation or a territory with small numbers. Then once the numbers grow, they're peaceful when they're small numbers. When the numbers begin to grow and increase, then they become aggressive. The more they increase, they become more aggressive. They become more demanding. They want Sharia law everywhere. They want the whole world to be under Islamic rule. This is the agenda, and we are allowing foot soldiers into this land every day. Every day, recruits are pouring into the land, and the government sits back because of this man, Starmer. He's a very dangerous man, Starmer.
Oh, we know that. Thanks, Ken.
Dangerous man, very dangerous.
Thanks.
OK, Ken, thank you very much. Now, I'll tell you what we've done. Ken turns 80 on the 15th of September. I've offered to buy him a beer.
He's a very fit man, isn't he? He's in good condition. It must be partly true then, what he says.
What he does is, get away from me. Get up, stand back from me.
He runs around, doesn't he? He doesn't look 80.
No, indeed.
75.
That's Ken in London. John is in Sutton. John, you're on talk.
Oh, hi. I agree with, by the way, I agree with everything the previous caller, Ken, just said.
Really?
He's correct. He's correct. Oh, yeah. Muhammad, by the way, is the false prophet mentioned in the book of Revelation. But what I wanted to talk about was the influx of migrants into Britain. Personally, I think it's so obvious that there's an unwritten agreement with the EU to take these people.
Right.
Because Starmer is a massive Europhile, and they're in the Conservative Party as well. And the EU want people, all European countries, they want to offload all.
But is this being driven by the WEF and basically a Marxist agenda? You will have nothing and be happy.
I'd say there is something like that behind it.
Well, Malcolm, can I ask you this? Malcolm Collins earlier, I think his name was Malcolm Collins, the pro-natal campaigner. Yeah. He said, what sort of a country tries to ban its own flag? A country that is under an occupation. I worry, in the United States of America, or rather in Canada, there's something called the United Empire Loyalists. They are the American Tories, the people that fought against the American War of Independence. They wanted America to remain part of, territory of the United Kingdom. I believe that Britain is being ruled by the European loyalists. These are people who believe that Britain should be ruled from the European Union, and no matter what has happened, what we should have done, and I know this sounds awful, is people like Keir Starmer, Tony Blair and others, Chris Bryant, should have been moved to Europe when Europe was defeated in Britain. And when I say defeated, I mean beat in the referendum.
Yes. Yeah, I agree with every word of that. Look, it's so obvious. They're actually going out to the middle of the channel, picking them up and taking them here and putting them in hotels. Yeah.
The unbelievable thing is, in the Channel, the French Navy give the migrants life jackets. They escort them to the Royal Navy or the RNLI or the Coast Guard. Then they put them on the boats. And when they put them on the British boats, they take their life jackets off them and return them to the French Navy so they can use them for the migrants tomorrow. That suggests, John, an organisational structure between Britain and France to guarantee that these people are able to come over.
It does. But, Andre, why are the press not onto this? Why are all the journalists that we got, our top journos, not, you don't have to be Sherlock Holmes to know there's something going on.
Most of the media are in on it. That's why you have to watch Talk and maybe a couple of other places. Everyone else is not even mentioning stuff going on, like these protests all over the country and stuff like that.
Oh, it's ruining this country. They need to stop it. I hope Reform win the next election.
Why?
And I hope it's before 4 years.
Why do you hope Reform win?
Because they'll stop it. They know this is an Islamic invasion. The Turkish Prime Minister said, our mosques are our barracks, our domes are our helmets, and our bayonets are our minarets.
Yeah.
Thanks, John. We've got a little breaky at this juncture. We'll be back in a couple of minutes.
across the UK, on DAB+, on your smart speaker, on your smart TV, and on your side. This is Talk.
Okay, let's go straight back to the phones. This is the Late Show with Andre Walker and Asher Gould and Stephen Zoom Walsall. Steve, you're on Talk. That was a bit overblown there, wasn't it?
Steve.
Steve, come on.
Steve.
Steve, I can't believe I gave you that introduction. You're not even listening.
Steve.
Oh,
no,
right.
let's just try once more. Steve. No. Helen in Manchester. Steve.
Hi.
All right, Helen.
He's hung up.
Yeah, hi. It's Knutsford, actually.
You're in Knutsford? But that's South Manchester, isn't it? By the service station.
It's got a lot more Union flags. Is it Union Jack flags? We're not
Union
sure, but
Jack
it's got
or
lots
flag,
of
I don't
those.
know. Yeah.
I hate people who care about the difference.
Who cares?
See, you're in Knutsford. That's a very posh part, isn't it? There, Knutsford.
Yeah, I've gone up in the world. You
Where
know,
the
since I moved from
footballers live round there.
Yeah, I haven't met any of them yet, but never mind about that.
My nephew goes to school in Altrincham. That's posh.
Yeah, that's
Really?
So what did you want to say, Helen?
Yeah, so, you know the whole religion thing? So I was brought up Roman Catholic, and Right. Once a Catholic, always a Catholic, don't really want to say just in case all of a sudden you get struck by lightning. But here's the thing. All these people that believe in this and this and this, these are things that may or may not exist. I believe in Freddie Mercury because Freddie Mercury did walk the planet. And the reason actually why I was going to call today was because yesterday Alex Phillips was saying people should not be allowed into this country unless they know who Freddie Mercury is. And I was like, yes!
Well,
and not only that.
It was Bobby Balsara, wasn't it? Was it Bobby? Frank Balsara or something?
Never mind about that. But the thing is, I just thought it's part of... It doesn't really... Okay. It's an English thing. I'm just having a laugh. Okay, but then we ended up talking about men walking into changing rooms in gyms and...
What about the other ones in Queen? Wasn't it important that, what's his name, Brian May, that he walked the earth as well?
I knew this girl who looked like Brian May. She was so ugly.
Were they the disciples, maybe?
Yeah, along those...
And what about Angie from EastEnders? Because she married John Deacon.
Do you remember that guy?
Is Live Aid? What's Live Aid?
Who's that guy who got...
Dave Bowie.
Do you remember Barry George, who claimed his name was Bally Bulsara?
Barry Bulsara.
And he
claimed cousin of Freddie Mercury.
Claimed he was Freddie Mercury's cousin.
Well, the reason... Okay, so going back to the reason why I believe in Freddie Mercury is this. Because up until COVID, until COVID, I was a professional singer. Hey?
I was just seeing if Steve was there.
And so when I used to get a bit... And I was singing in a rock band up until COVID, before everything went to you-know-what.
Oh, yeah.
Anyway, yeah, so when I was feeling a bit tired or something, I'd sing a Queen song and I'd suddenly feel great.
Which song? Give us a little go of it. Yeah, which one?
The show must go on. The show must go on. Ooh, inside my heart is breaking. My makeup may be flaking, but my smile still stays on. Along those lines.
No, it wasn't that bad actually.
That was very good. Very good. That was.
Don't stop
Can you?
I'm having such a good time.
Having a ball.
I'll tell you what. I will give you.
It's a kind of magic.
I will give you £10.
Kind of magic.
Oh, we hear it. Radio Gaga.
Radio Goo Goo.
Helen.
Mama just killed a man.
Helen, I will give you £10 if you can now sing I Like to Move It by Reel to Reel. I like to move it. I like to move it. If you can do
Queen
if
as
you
well?
can do physically fit, one man, physically fit.
Do you remember when Angie from EastEnders? Do you remember Angie from EastEnders did the EastEnders tune and wrote lyrics for it?
Yes.
Anyone can fall in love. And she had the same hair as Roger Taylor, didn't she? Or was it the other one, Brian?
Greta Thunberg's got the same hairstyle as a discredited celebrity who we won't mention.
She's got a bowl head. She's got what we used to call at school a bowl head. Because they put the bowl on.
She's got that hairstyle the same. You know who I'm talking about. She's got that hairstyle.
Rachel Reeves haircut.
I'll tell you what.
Everyone needs a mullet.
You know what I can sing?
There she is, if you
yeah,
want.
look at that. That looks exactly like...
That's what we call a bowl head.
That looks exactly like... What? How would you describe it? Top of the Pops in the 70s.
Medieval.
Oh, mad. Yeah, that's neat, that's neat, that's neat, that's neat. I really love your tiger feet.
Was that Queen as well? I never knew that.
No, that was mad.
Can you sing Dragon's Tinte by Ozone?
No, I can sing...
Because I can. Allo, salut, sincer un hajduk, jiti rogiu birama, primeshta, feracira.
What's going on, man? What's going on?
Sincerity Picasso, tam dat beep, chesivonik, das ashtino cernimik, vesa blezhar numa numaye.
What's this mean? This could be really rude.
Numa numaye, chi poltauchi, Dragon's Dancing Day, na ameshta okiteye. That's all right, isn't it?
What was that? Welsh?
It's Moldovan Romanian. All right, Helen, goodbye. I don't know why you even did that, but...
I loved it.
Stop it now. OK, let's go for Philippa in Poole. Philippa, don't sing.
I can't sing because I'm tone deaf, so don't worry about that.
I want to hear it.
No. Honestly, you will lose listeners if I start singing. I
mean, to be fair, Nobby Holder can't sing, and he invented a new type of singing called screaming, didn't he?
No, I couldn't even do that.
Oh, really?
No, what I wanted to talk about was recently people have been painting roundabouts in Bournemouth, and they painted one outside of the town hall.
Yes.
And apparently, my best friend's crazy. She sends me loads of reels on Instagram of all this political stuff that's going on, and tonight she sent me a picture of a mini roundabout that's been painted with the Pakistani flag. Apparently Muslims are going out there and doing that.
Really? In Bournemouth, you say?
And it's just like, really, the world has gone absolutely crazy.
Well, it's not unusual. It's not unusual. Look,
Tom Jones.
Multiculturalism is, the balkanisation, and that if you look at somewhere like Serbia, well, probably more not Yugoslavia, probably more Bosnia, you will have that, where you will have the Serbian area painted with the Serbian flag, the Bosnian area painted with the Bosnian flag, the Croat area. I don't think we should be surprised, given the direction of travel, when Pakistani flags will fly in one area and British flags will fly in another. If you go to Northern Ireland, the Israeli flag will fly in the Protestant areas and the Palestinian flag flies in the Catholic areas.
This is the balkanisation process.
Yeah. And the other thing I wanted to talk about was the Angela Rayner thing and the housing.
Yeah.
Keir Starmer is not going to want to get rid of Angela Rayner because if she affects to another party rather than go to the backbenches, she'll go over to Jeremy Corbyn, and she's more powerful being with Jeremy Corbyn than she is being with Starmer, so it's better for him to keep his enemies sort of closer.
Well, she's the token working class person, isn't she, that they use?
Exactly.
I love the way Jeremy Corbyn went on a gap year and never got over it. Like, his gap years never ended.
With his Che Guevara T-shirt.
Yeah, that's right.
Oh, gosh. But, and like, the other thing is the councils are now giving away £300,000 houses to immigrants.
Yeah, I saw that.
With a £3,000 stipend so that they can move in. What's all that about?
Well, what's it like? I mean, you're just down the road in Poole. What's it like in Poole?
In what respect?
Well, is the town changed beyond recognition in the last year or two, like Bournemouth has?
To be fair, I don't go out very much.
Yeah, well, that's a lot of people aren't, because they're scared. Is it because you're scared of what might happen if you do go out?
Well, I don't go out drinking or anything anyway. I don't go to nightclubs. I'm all past that sort of age now.
So you just drink at home.
You know, but I worry about my sons, because I've got a 22-year-old boy and a 21-year-old boy, and I worry when they go out, because, you know, they could get into fights.
And what are they doing? Are they have they been to university or something, or what have they done?
No, they both work. They both work.
That's good. So they're working to pay for all these people that have come in.
Yeah, exactly. And I just think it's completely wrong what's happening, especially when you've got UK people living in social housing where they've got mould, disrepair.
And what do your sons say about it, though? What are their political views? What are they thinking to do? Are they thinking of leaving the country?
They both vote for reform. I mean, obviously they've known that I've been a Labour voter all my life, but now I'm definitely moved over to Reform. I'm a member. I've just downloaded the new Reform app. I'm not going up to conference tomorrow. I'm really sad that I'm not, because I really, really want to go. I think it would be amazing to go up there, because I went up to the last one. And, you know, my political views have completely changed, and I'll tell you for why. It's because of a lot of the immigration stuff that's going on. The working classes of this country are being left behind. They're not being pushed forward like the Labour Party used to do. I don't believe in any of their policies anymore.
They're being trodden on.
You know,
they're being trodden on.
They are. And we've got no quality of life in this country anymore, and our culture and our heritage and all that's being whitewashed. And that's why my political views have changed. And also, watching and listening to this channel, if I hadn't have done that, then I would never know half of what's going on in this country and would not have changed my political views and would have been very, very ignorant. So
that's why we're here.
I've got to thank talkTV for that and for the opportunity of giving people like me a voice, because Reform don't need more Conservative MPs defecting over to them. They need people from different walks of life, different original political views, who can give the party a well-rounded point of view, so that when they go ahead and write their policies, and when Nigel gets into number 10, you know, they're learning from all sorts of different people from different walks of life, and that's how I think it should be. Otherwise, Reform will end up just being the Conservative Party Mark II, and that's not what we need.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, you know.
All right, Philippa, thank you so much. We will watch this Reform conference with interest. OK, well, I reckon...
Should we have a little break?
No, I think we should plug our social media first.
At Virtual Ash, at Andre JP Walker, and you can watch Andre Walker on YouTube. Just put in Andre Walker, and that's it. 0344499 1000. We'll be back with Alison in Buckinghamshire, and you can leave us a WhatsApp message, 0344499 1000, if you want to. Alison in Buckinghamshire, we'll be on Talk in a couple of minutes. Stay with us.
across the UK, on DAB+, on your smart speaker, on your smart TV, and on your side. This is Talk.
The Select Show with Andre Walker and Asher Gould. Let's go straight to the phone lines again. Tim is in Portsmouth. Tim, you're on Talk.
Hello, Andre, Ash.
All right.
Hello.
Nice to talk to you again. I've only spoken to you once before. I work shift work on boats, so I don't really have the chance to really get in touch very often. But just want to say, with Ken, this comes on, he does make me laugh. Can he answer the question, when is Jesus coming back? And
we'll call him now, he said that.
Yeah, if God,
now look what you've done.
I'd like to have a debate with Ken one day, actually, about this stuff. And if there is a God, can he sort this world out and make all the crap go away, please?
He will do. Don't worry, it's all written in Revelations 14,
yeah, I know.
chapter
I've
7.
read some of that. I'm not really into religion, but I do sort of respect.
But do you know, Tim? Do you not accept one thing that I like about Ken? I mean, look. First of all, I believe that anybody who stands up for a Christian society is not a bad egg in general. But one of the things that I like about Ken is the world that Ken envisages for Britain, standing up for traditional values, would be better than what we've got now. Even if you're not religious, you've got to accept that, right?
No, I do accept it at all. I'm not against religion in any way, shape or form. I just can imagine him being in a high street somewhere with a holding the Bible aloft and bashing.
Oh no, we've got footage of him. Should we? I'll tell you what I'll do. I will say to Adam in the gallery, if we have the argument with him and Mick Lynch, we'll play it in a couple of minutes.
What do you do, by the way, on boats, Tim? Are you a fisherman?
No, I'm a crewman on a ferries.
Do you know something? I've got a friend of mine who's a super yacht deckhand. He's only about 20, and I hadn't realised something, that to be a super yacht deckhand or to start
a cabin boy
in your career, to start in your career on super yachts, you go to college in Liverpool. The college is still there.
Yeah, you do. A lot of them where I work, a lot of them are merchant seamen and everything else, and the captains and all that sort of thing. But I'm just a lowly rating. At 56 years old, I've gone back to the sea again.
Why?
Because I needed to be happy in my life. Pressed eggs. I got battered over the head.
Yeah, and then taken away.
Are you aware of that myth? That if you accept the king's shilling, then you get press ganged.
Yes.
So what you have to do is they used to have glass bottoms to the glasses.
Yeah, I've got a tankard.
Bottoms up.
Yeah,
so you could see the coin.
Yeah, so you couldn't, because once you accepted that, you were taken on the boat.
Right, Tim, you asked for it. Tim, you asked for it, so you're going to have it. So look, we're going to do the sound as well if we can, Adam. Let's get. This is Ken from London arguing with Mick Lynch during the rail strikes. Go for it.
You're holding the country to ransom. You're holding the country to ransom, sir, and God will judge you. You're holding the country to ransom. Jesus the Messiah is coming. This man is holding the country to ransom. This man is holding the country to ransom. He is a communist. He is anti-Christ. He wants nothing to do with the Bible or Jesus Christ. He is against God. Now I'm telling you the truth. This man is totally anti-Christ. He is against God and the teachings of the Bible. He is a hindrance to this country. We need to repent. We all need to repent. God bless you all. Jesus is coming soon.
Look at him hiding.
He's coming soon.
Look at Mick Lynch hiding like the Antichrist behind the pillar.
Right, so for those of you that were listening rather than watching, Mick Lynch comes out to make a statement and he has to hide behind a pillar. If you watch the whole video, in the end he goes to Ken, "Can you just leave it, mate, and stop doing this?" And Ken just refuses and keeps saying that he's a follower of the Antichrist. Tim, look, whatever you think of Ken, that's not a left-wing move, is it?
No. Listen, I'm not saying anything bad about Ken. I just like to have a little chat with him one day, because I want to question about some stuff to see where it goes.
Tim,
I wouldn't advise it.
Tim, can I ask you a question?
I bet you wouldn't.
Tim, can I ask you a question? We've given up many of our industries in this country, and shipping is one of them. You know, we used to have all of the great ports and all this sort of thing. You know, the
shipyards.
The port of, Harland and Wolff in Belfast. You used to have the port of London, Liverpool, all this. You know, do you not feel sad about the fact that in 1 or 2 generations we've gone from being the biggest shipping nation in the world to being nothing?
I know, yeah, I do agree with that, but also our ships, we got 3, well, we got 8 actually, but 6 large ones, and they do go to ports for refits in the winter. So they don't go abroad. They come in.
Do they?
In places like yes, they do.
But
yeah.
aren't they owned by like Chinese companies now and stuff like that?
No, it's not. We're not Chinese. I work for the Isle of Wight car ferries.
Oh yeah.
You work in what? Sorry,
the Isle of Wight car ferry.
I thought you said you work in the ferry's carvery. I thought
No, none of that. No, but I'm not going to be sort of. I'm not going to say anything bad on the radio station.
Do you know Alex? Do you know Alex?
He fell down off the bridge the other day and cracked his head.
You do know Alex, because he'll be on your boat tomorrow.
Will he? Alex who?
Dyke. He was on the show earlier. He lives in the Isle of...
he looks a bit like John Major.
Yeah.
Does he? Oh,
a bit like Mike Reid.
Notice him straight away.
Yeah, you'll notice him.
Can I say this to you guys? I can't listen to you all the time. It's because it's all work-wise, but I do think you're both great. But I do want to come on again and talk about things that's happening around Portsmouth, Southsea area.
Oh, I'll tell you what.
Yeah, do.
Well, you know, we had the leader.
Other things that I've noticed.
Well, what have you not? Tell us now. Give us a little taster.
Well, no, just like, you know, I don't want to be sort of over the top with the migrant thing and all that. It's just something that happened to my daughter a while back when we were out running along the seafront, and it was pretty grim, really. And yes, I had a migrant behind her on a bike, trying to film her from behind.
Yeah.
And she's because I run a bit faster than my daughter, so I won't be too long with it.
So you ran away and left her then?
No, I was about 300 yards in front. She said, no, carry on, Dad, because your pace is faster than mine. And I could hear her shouting, and I looked round. She was going, that's my dad up there. And there was a migrant on a bike filming her from behind while she was running. She's only 5'2", a little petite girl. And she got really distressed about it. And I was like, I turned around and ran back, and he rode off.
Well, there's a lot of concerns. There's a lot of concerns in Portsmouth, isn't there? Because I know that we had the leader of Reform UK from Portsmouth on the show talking about
isn't it near Bournemouth, Portsmouth? It's sort of down the road.
No, well, it's about 45 miles away. But Portsmouth, I live in Southsea, which is like, you know, you'd think on a nice summer evening, running with your daughter, I've had ahead a little bit because she said, no, carry on, Dad. But this migrant was on a bike behind
Southsea was always
my daughter's backside, basically.
Southsea was always a nice place.
Southsea's a lovely place.
So was Bournemouth.
But it's changing a little bit, and there's some places that I've noticed recently that's got loads of migrants. Don't get me wrong, I believe that everyone should have a good life, but the influx is too much. But but to film my daughter from behind.
How old is your daughter?
She's 35.
Okay, so it's not a child that we're talking about.
No, she's not a child, but she's still very small, very petite girl. You wouldn't know that she was 35. Do you know what I mean? And I was running in front of her.
It doesn't matter if it's your child or a grown woman. You know, it's all matters.
She's my daughter, and that's what counts. And I turned around to see what she was doing, what she was talking about, and I could hear her saying, "Oh, it's my dad up there. It's my dad." And as soon as I turned around and ran back, he went the other way. He was filming her from behind, just like
horrendous.
You should have. You should go to the police, but they don't do anything, do they?
What you should have done was you should have misgendered him. The police would have been right round there, and then you could have made a more formal complaint about what happened.
I wish I'd had a run 3 miles first, and I could have probably caught him on his bike and just dragged him off.
Are there protests in Portsmouth about this?
Oh, what, sorry?
Are there protests?
There's been protests by you obviously heard about the beach hotel.
Yeah, and there's lots of HMOs, isn't there, in Portsmouth that they tried to hide it, and it came out there was like quite a few of them.
But also, where I live, there's a road opposite. I live in quite. Don't get me wrong, I'm not wealthy or anything like that, but I live in quite a little posh area. But I rent cheap, if you know what I mean, little basement room. But across the road, there was a fire alarm went off opposite the Queen's Hotel, and a load of migrants come out with their flip flops. You know, you can tell, can't you?
You can.
Yeah, And these are quality accommodations, en suites, all that. And there was loads of migrants outside. They're hiding them away.
Yes.
Well,
the people of Portsmouth have caught the government deliberately hiding, and Portsmouth City Council, whatever you think of it, are not involved, are they? They're deliberately trying to stop it.
It's being hidden.
It's just they're hiding it everywhere, to be honest. And it's just live and let live as far as I'm concerned. But to be honest with you, when it's like sort of hidden away, then it's not really.
Well, when they're economic migrants taking the mick, it's not okay, is it?
I mean, that is the central point, isn't it, Asher? The fact that they're not refugees
and undocumented. You don't know who they are. I mean, you'd never move. When someone has to work with kids, you have to get checked and see whatever they call it. But if you're a migrant, you can throw your passport away and they'll move you in next to a school and not worry at all about it.
Sorry, what I was going to say is what they've done. What they've done deliberately is this. The people like Keir Starmer and all of these Human Rights Brigade believe that economic migrants should be allowed in Britain, pretty much uncontrolled, and they have exploited a system set up to prevent another Holocaust. That's what it was in the 1940s. They've exploited that system to create uncontrolled immigration. Do you know what we should be saying now? I support the Refugee Convention. I support that if there is a war in one country, people should be allowed to go to the country next door and take refuge until that war's over. I support that. I do not support the whole I'm flying in from India because I fancy a job in Britain.
Yeah, I know, but we can't all get away with that all over the world, can we? It's like it seems like we are an easy touch.
Yeah, we are.
Like
But deliberately so. Deliberately so. These law firms know that their clients are not genuine refugees. Do you know what I'd do? I'd do another thing as well. No legal aid unless you're actually a British national. Oh, that'd change things.
I'd say you can never get benefits if you're not British, if you're not a British national. You've got to work here if you want to live here.
Ash, I grew up with Sikhs, black, we call them blacks. I don't know what you call them now, people of colour and all that sort of thing. I don't know about that. But what I'm saying is, I've got a problem with anyone at all.
Exactly.
Anyone who comes here, does their work, does this, but all legal. But it seems like they just the people in the establishment don't live in these places, and I've seen it change so much down here. Look, they say about the vape shops, the hairdressers. It's unbelievable amounts. It's just ridiculous.
Yeah, I went for a haircut. And everyone's got the same hairdo as Kim Jong-un, by the way. But I went for a haircut in Goulburn, near where my dad lives. And the very nice gentleman doing the haircutting was an Iraqi Kurd who'd been in the country 3 years. Yeah.
But I mean, if anyone's over here doing their work and it's all like above board and it's everything else, but there's a lady near, she's got a little vape shop down in Southsea, one of the high street.
Yeah.
And within about a month, there was 3 other vape shops, all colourful, selling these monster drinks, and just nothing really. It's these tiny little shops.
A lot of them are money launderers, aren't they? That's the thing. And
I went shops selling loads of stuff. It's just big.
I went down Oxford Street, and I have to say to you, unfortunately, cocaine dealing has re-energised the high street, hasn't it? All these fake shops.
A lot of it, all kinds of drugs.
Andre, stop going down that road. It's not good. It's not a good.
Yeah, that's why you're always down that road.
Stop doing that.
He doesn't do that, and you shouldn't either.
No,
I think it's fairly obvious we're not doing Class A drugs, right?
We can't do anything like that.
Yeah, I think it's fairly obvious we're not doing Class A drugs. Okay,
it's not really, is it?
It's not the 80s, right? Okay,
now
that was Tim in Portsmouth. We're going to be back in a couple of moments.
across the UK, on DAB+, on your smart speaker, on your smart TV, and on your side. This is Talk.
OK, let's read this out. Lindsay says, please stop referring to Crooked Ange as working class. She hasn't done a hard day's work in her life and has absolutely zero class. She has to go, and this is her karma for stepping all over the working class to get where she gets. She is as common as muck, lower class trash. That is quite sad.
That's
that
from Lindsay.
That is robust.
Well, she called them scum, didn't she, the Tories? Tory scum.
OK, Andre and Ash, well done on a brilliant show tonight. I know it can be a thorn in the side sometimes when I kick off about disability. However, I feel so strongly about it. But to hear what Angie's doing to a disabled son like that left me fuming. Fab again showing that Samantha in Lancashire. OK, who have we got next? Should we go for Alison in Buckinghamshire?
Yeah, we said that before. Sorry, Alison. Morning.
Good morning.
Morning.
I'm actually going to ask Andre a question because he's quite an intelligent person, obviously. I'm not saying you're not, Ash, you are.
Well, you sort of are implicating that, aren't you?
Yeah, all right, okay, then, all right, yeah, all right, fair enough. You're all right, yeah, okay, yeah, I'll say.
There's no need to...
If you, this is nothing to do with politics or anything, but if you buy someone something like a car, yeah, say you buy your partner a car, and she puts it in her name.
Yeah.
Who is the owner of that vehicle?
Well, there's a number of things with cars. So first of all, there's the owner and then there's a registered keeper. So if you put it in your name, you might not be the owner. However, the thing is, if you buy... So let me give you an example of what happens with engagement rings. It's been established by the courts. If I give you an engagement ring and you do not marry me, you have to give me the engagement ring back because there's an implied contract.
Is that the law? I didn't know that.
There's an implied contract which is I'm giving you this ring as part of a verbal contract for us to get married. And if you choose to break that contract by not getting married, it would depend the details of the agreement. But the big problem is there probably wasn't any agreement. So if the person says, well, he gave me the car, I think it would be very difficult to get the car back.
Yeah, because that was just an example.
Have you given someone a car, Alison?
No. I spoke to Andre last week. It was about multicultural things, and I told you that I had a partner who's a Muslim.
Oh, yeah, I remember that, yeah.
And he bought you a car?
No, we're not together now. And he...
Hang on, you were together last week?
Yeah, I know.
A week is a long time in marriage. He heard the show.
Well, sorry, Alison, I'm sorry, this isn't a lifestyle show, but what actually happened?
No, I just wanted to ask. He bought me a dog, but the dog is registered in my name.
Yeah.
So who is the owner of that dog?
Are you selling the dog?
No, look.
No,
I think
he took her.
How much do you want for the dog?
I think that if he bought you a dog as a present for a birthday or Christmas or something like that, and the dog's registered in your name, I think it's going to be very difficult. But you've got to remember something. In order to get the dog off you, he's going to have to sue you through the civil courts, right? Which is going to cost an absolute fortune.
Is it a nice dog? Is it an expensive dog?
Yeah, well, he's got her. But
what is it, though? Is it like, an Alsatian or what?
No, it's a little Frenchie. She's only 9 months old, and she's just got her first.
Can you prove he bought it for you? Can you prove he bought it as a present?
No, because there's no paperwork.
Have you had it shipped? Go and get it shipped.
Yeah, I have, and it's all in my name.
Okay. Well, let me ask you the next question. Question. What did he give you when did he give you it as a present? Was it like Christmas or birthday or something?
Yeah.
Well, no, it was 4 months ago. It was a surprise.
What was the occasion?
No occasion.
The reason I was saying that was because, obviously, if you took a dog to be chipped a week after your birthday, that would strongly suggest it had been bought for your birthday.
Does he want custody of the dog?
Well, I don't know where he is. He's just took her. I don't know where she is.
So he's took the dog. He's stolen your dog, basically. So you report it to the police. Say that's your dog.
Because I looked into it, and actually,
the problem is if you go to a police station and find someone there, that would be odd to start with. But if you said
find a police station,
if you said somebody has stolen my dog and they go, it's your partner, then they'll say the ownership's not really been established. It's a matter for the civil court. I would suggest they'll say
is
that.
Is it not registered in anyone's name?
Well,
it's registered in her name.
Oh, well, it's your dog, isn't it?
Chipped.
Well, this is what I've spoke to the police about it, and they called me about it. They've been really good, so I can't really say anything. And he said it's difficult because he's bought it. I said, yeah, but if somebody buys you something, I said, say someone buys you a house then.
If someone buys you something and gives it to you, it's your property.
Yeah. Just to be clear, if you are bought a present by somebody, it is your property. Right? It's not. I bought it for you 6 years ago and have changed my mind. I'm now having it back. That is obviously stupid.
Yeah. So I've said that he took her. I said she's, chipped and registered to this address and to me. I said it was a surprise or whatever. He said, have you got any paperwork? I said, no.
But you must have with the chip. The chipping must have given you some.
Yeah, I have, but no proof of receipt of him personally.
Because what he could say is, even though it was registered in her name, that's just a nicety because she happened. It's not unusual if a piece of property is shared for one person to have it in their name, is it?
Yeah, no. But is it technically
We've got 5 other dogs and they're all in my name. None of them are. He's got any responsibility towards them.
Why did he want this particular dog?
I don't know. What concerns me is that where his mum and dad live, they're a Muslim family, and they've got 2 massive Rottweilers there, and they're really aggressive.
So his mum and dad, who are staunch conservative Muslims, have got 2 Rottweilers.
Yeah.
That's highly unusual because most Muslims consider being licked by a dog to be unclean because it licks, I'll just be blunt, it licks its sphincter before it licks your hand. Oh. We lost her at that moment.
Probably a good juncture. Educational. This is Joe in Leicester. Joe.
Hi. How's it going, lads?
Hey, Joe. We're all right, man. So what's up, man?
Sorry, just to explain, she did not hang up. That was a technical fault. It wasn't related to sphincter licking. Anyway.
Tragedy.
Joe, go on.
Well, I just wanted to chat about Operation Raise the Colours, lads. I just wanted to wonder what you made about it. What do you?
I think it's a great thing. I think it's great. This country's flag, and it should be raised. Because for our identity. You know, we're laying our claim to this land. It's not someone else's land. It's British land.
Are you aware of where it comes from originally, lads?
Well, St George, wasn't it? Because it wasn't always a St George. It was a different flag before. But it's just a symbol of the country.
I mean, who brought it up originally in this country?
So
in Birmingham City Council.
So as far as we're concerned, there are lots of people putting up the flag, which is their right to do it. Our issue isn't about raising the flag, which has been your right historically forever. It's the fact that some local authorities have recently tried to prevent it. We don't see this as a project that has started recently in terms of raising the flag.
But it did begin. No, I agree with you here, lads. But what I'm saying is, you know the guy who started this, Andrew Curry and Andy Saxon? You're aware of him?
I've no idea who that is.
Oh, well, he was jailed in 2009 because he committed a racist murder. It's actually very obvious if you go and look it up on the internet.
Okay.
So it's kind of interesting that you do that. And if you look at Epping as well...
No, hang on a second. Stop. Hang on a second. The right to raise the flag has existed in history up until about 5 weeks ago when 2 councils in Liverpool claimed that they had the right to take them down. What has the racist guy got to do with that?
Well, the guy started the movement.
No, there's no starting. Hang on a second. The movement was... Hang on, no, shut him up for a second. Shut him up for a second. No, let's be clear. The movement is not raising the flag. The movement is local